Let's hear it. Yeah. Okay, I'd like to bring out your council member, Richie Torres. And your mayor, Bill de Blasio. All right, before we begin, I'd like to invite up Jalen Blanco to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance. Jalen? Up here, Jalen? No?
Right now?
Hold on a second. Okay, you did.
I pledge of allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Good job. Thank you, Jalen. That is yours? Okay. So I'd like to thank some of our co-sponsors this evening, starting off with our host, IS 254, Principal Dr. Alex Marrero. Excellent. Also, Community Board 6, District Manager John Sanchez. Tremont United Methodist Church, Pastor Reverend Dr. Marva Usher Kerr. The Monterey Tenants Association, President Gil Simmons. The Twins Park West Residents Association, President Jacqueline Williams. And the 48th Precinct Council, President Ada Haddock. And also some of our community leaders today, Bronx Muslim Center, the 49th Precinct Community Council. I know we have folks here from the Mary Mitchell Center, Executive Director Heidi Hines, and the 46th Precinct Council. So I'd like to invite some of our special guests up to bring us greetings. Let's start off with your District Attorney, Darcel Clark.
Thank you so much. Good evening, everyone. This is a lively group here. We're going to have some good discussions here tonight, huh? Thank you, Mr. Mayor, Councilman Torres, Senator Rivera, all of you. It's a pleasure to be here with you this evening. It's especially somber to be within a school knowing that just last week we had such a tragedy in one of our schools. And I know that's some of the things that we're talking about. But my job as district attorney always is to make sure that we continue to keep the Bronx safe. And I get to do that each and every day working with the men and women of NYPD. So thank you very much for all that you do. And just know that my office has been able to make some real headway in making our streets safe and giving more programs for seniors, more programs for our kids, warrant forgiveness programs, all kinds of new programs I've been able to establish in my office because I've received the funding from the city and the mayor. So I thank you for that support. And just know I'm always here for you. So I look forward to the discussion tonight. Have a great evening.
Thank you, D.A. Clark. Now I'd like to invite up your state senator, Gustavo Rivera.
Thank you. Good evening, sir. Good evening to everyone. Good evening to, obviously, our council member. Good evening, Mayor. Thank you for making it up. But most importantly, thank you to all of you. Muy buenas noches a todos. Hermanos y hermanas de aquí del Bronx, thank you so much for being with us. I will be brief because I'm not the guy you came to hear. It's this gentleman right here. I will only say that I thank you for coming out here, and this is just a demonstration of how much all of us, whether it's the assembly member, council member, the council member, the mayor, of myself, recognize that ultimately we work for you. So we're glad to be here. We're glad for your input. We're glad for your questions. Thank you for being part of our community, and God bless everyone in this room. Thank you.
Thank you, Senator Rivera. And now your council member, Richie Torres.
Thank you. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the last town hall in the Bronx. He's saving the best for last, the mayor. I want to thank the leadership of IS 254 for hosting us today. The principal, Alexis Marrero. Where is the principal? Right behind me. Thank you, Ms. Marrero. And I want to thank Jalen Blanco, the student who led us through the pledge. Where's Jalen? I'm City Council Member Richie Torres, and it is an honor to have the mayor of the city of New York right in the center of the Bronx. You know, as a local elected official, I'm only as good as the allies I have in elected office. And I cannot imagine a greater ally than Mayor de Blasio. And I want to give you a glimpse of what our partnership has brought right to the center of the Bronx. In partnership with the mayor and with the Bronx Borough President, we have invested over $20 million to renovate parks throughout Council District 15. From Zimmerman to Waring to Van Nest to Mapes to Echo, and there's one more that I will leave it to the mayor to announce. Or on public safety, the mayor has invested hundreds of millions of dollars to pursue the most ambitious community policing initiative ever undertaken in the United States. We've created an entirely new category of police officers known as Neighborhood Coordinating Officers, NCOs, whose prime focus is not simply to respond to 911 calls or to lurch from one emergency to the next, but to develop deep and durable relationships with members of the community and leverage those trusting relationships to collect intel for the purpose of crime prevention, not merely responding to crimes, but proactively preventing them. That's what this mayor has done. And then at the center of his agenda has been affordable housing. Right? Mayor de Blasio is creating and preserving affordable housing on a scale and at a pace not seen in decades. Not seen in decades. And we have a powerful example right here in the Bronx, Lambert Houses. The redevelopment of Lambert Houses represents a $600 million investment in West Farms, which is one of the poorest neighborhoods in our city. We are going to create 1,600 units of affordable housing across the income spectrum. And then we have the most vital safety net of affordable housing that we have, which is public housing. I was born and raised in public housing. My mother continues to live in public housing. We are joined by the chair of public housing, Shola Alatoye. I should know how you pronounce your name, yes. And as you know, NYCHA has been so savagely starved of funding that it has $17 billion worth of unmet capital needs. And so unlike any mayor before him, this mayor has spent billions of dollars to replace the worst roofs in public housing. And the largest development that I have in my district is Parkside Houses. Do we have anyone here from Parkside Houses? Parkside Houses alone has received $33 million worth of roof replacement. So whether it's parks, public safety, affordable housing in general, public housing in particular, this mayor has been on our side. He has seen to it that the Central Bronx has gotten its fair share from the city budget. It's not perfection, ladies and gentlemen, but it's certainly progress, and he deserves credit for it. Before I introduce the mayor, I'm the moderator, so I have to play bad cop and lay a few ground rules. There are hundreds of people in this room. Many of you are eager to ask the mayor questions, and so in order to ensure that as many people as possible have an opportunity to ask questions of the mayor, I want to lay a few ground rules. First, it's one question per person. One question per person. The second ground rule is once you ask your question, that's the end of it. Do not give a speech. Do not tell your life story. Do not engage in a debate with the mayor. He will have a Republican debate next week, so that will... Ask your question, allow the mayor to answer it. The point of this town hall is not psychotherapy. It is problem solving. Is to ask a question or express a concern to the mayor so that we can get commitments from the mayor and the full range of commissioners to solve the problems that are affecting our district. So those are the ground rules. I will enforce them. I will play bad cop. I'm much meaner than I look. With that said, ladies and gentlemen, the star of the show, Mayor Bill de Blasio.
Thank you so much, Councilman Torres. I'm going to talk about your councilman in a moment, but he can be tough, but he's got a heart of gold. But he'll be a fair moderator tonight, and I want to thank everyone for being here. I really like to start every time we have a town hall meeting. This is our 37th that I've been privileged to have around this city. I start at the beginning with the people. Town hall meeting is an expression of people's commitment to their neighborhood and their love for their neighborhood. And there's a lot of things you could be doing right now. You could be curled up in front of a television set. You could be doing a lot of other things right now. But hundreds of people, after a long day, decide to come out and make their voices heard to improve the community. That is something beautiful. Everyone give each other a round of applause for that. A special thank you to some of the leaders who have joined us. We're going to be talking tonight about all the issues you raise. One thing we can be very proud of is there have been constant improvements in making the community safe. I want to give your district attorney a lot of credit. She has been really aggressive. Darcel Clark, let's thank her for all she does. And I keep giving her money because she keeps doing good things with it. And then I want to thank your senator. Your senator does something every year that takes a lot of courage. He goes up to Albany to defend the interests of New York City. And it's not an easy job, but he does it with a lot of passion. Thank you, Senator Gustavo Rivera. I want to thank the members of my administration. I want to start, since I mentioned there has been real progress. We know there's always more to do on public safety, but the progress is clear, it's undeniable. Let's start by thanking the leaders of the NYPD who are here and all the men and women of the NYPD. And then here in this area of the room, you have the people who run some of the most important city agencies in terms of what it means for your life. You have some of the people whose decisions, whose actions affect your lives every single day. It is a very hardworking, committed group of people. And when we have these town hall meetings, I always tell people there is the bonus. You not only have the regular dialogue, and it'll go on for the next few hours. At the end, you have all of these people who are still here. So if an issue doesn't get covered and you want to talk to one of them directly, or if there's something we have to follow up on, they will be here. Don't be shy. I don't think there's a lot of Bronxites who are shy. Would you agree with that, Richie? But sometimes people worry, because these meetings go pretty late, sometimes people worry that these guys have worked, these good public servants have worked a long day, and, should you still come up to them even if it's late at night? I am here to reassure you, they are so committed to their jobs, they will stay here all night if you want them to. So come on up when this meeting's over. Now, very quickly, I want to just say something about your council member, and I want to give you a couple of quick updates before we open it up. So, your council member, Richie Torres, has done an outstanding job advocating for this community in a way that has brought back results. He mentioned some of the things that gotten done. Those things don't happen by themselves. Someone has to go and make the case. Someone has to go and get the attention of all the different people in the city agencies. Someone has to show them why a wrong needs to be righted. And he has won tremendous respect at City Hall for his seriousness, his intelligence, his diligence. He's also devoted so much of his work to the needs of residents of public housing as a chair of that committee. And one of the reasons we are making these huge new investments in public housing is because Richie Torres has helped to lead the way and really helped to focus the whole city on our responsibility to 400,000 people who live in NYCHA. So let's thank your council member for all he has done. Now, as I said, I want to give you a couple of quick updates, and then it's up to you, whatever topics you raise, whatever questions you raise. But first, at the outset, we have had a tough last week, and I want to just acknowledge this on everyone's minds. What we saw happen in Las Vegas was unspeakable, the worst mass shooting in American history, and it pains us all. What we saw happen last week in one of our own schools in this borough, a young man, Matthew McCree, his life taken in his classroom, is unimaginably painful to think about that and to think about what his family is going through. To think about how shocking that is to everyone, parents and fellow students and teachers. It's the first time that's happened in a quarter century, and we want it to be the last time it's happened. But I think given the magnitude of what's happened in Las Vegas and what happened here last week in the Bronx, we should have a moment of silence in honor of all those we have lost. Excuse me, I think we should have a moment of silence. We will talk about the issues after, but let's have a moment of silence for those we've lost. Thank you. Let me talk to you about some of the things that we need to report to you on about what's being done in this community and for this community. I mentioned the leadership of the NYPD here who are implementing that neighborhood policing strategy that you heard Richie talk about. And this is something that is really changing the way policing works in New York City. It focuses on a deep relationship being developed between police and community. And it is one of the things that's making us safer. We used to be told that if police and community were working closer together, that would not result in more safety. Well, in fact, what we found is it makes a huge difference in how safe communities can be. I want to use the example of the 48th precinct, where we are now. And this is amazing. When you compare today, this year, 2017, with the same point last year in this precinct, shootings are down over 40% in just a year's time. Let's give them a round of applause for that. And these precincts that have the NCOs, the neighborhood coordinating officers, we're seeing extraordinary things. But there's one precinct here in the council members' district that has not had the NCOs, and it's time to fix that situation. The 49th precinct, I'm here to announce that the 49th precinct will have NCOs by January, and that's going to make everyone safer. But here's what else we've learned. The men and women in uniform play a crucial role in keeping us safe, but you know what? Again, one of the things neighborhood policing recognizes is community partners are needed. Community partners are needed if people are going to be safe. And we have found not only does that mean the civic associations, the block associations, the community board, the tenant patrols, all of those pieces, but it also means the Cure Violence movement, which has done extraordinary work. Cure Violence movement, also known as the Crisis Management System, this is grassroots people making a difference who have recognized that they will devote themselves from their own experience to helping a lot of our young people away from the wrong path and back to the right path and keeping them safe. Where the Cure Violence movement is active in this city, the results have been outstanding. And I want to give some credit where credit is due. A man in my office who runs our anti-gun violence efforts, who has been our liaison to the Cure Violence movement, he's doing extraordinary work. Eric Cumberbatch, get up and take a bow for a moment. I want people to see you. Thank you for all you've done. This is now, beyond a shadow of doubt, a strategy that is working, and so I'm here to announce that we will expand our Cure Violence initiatives. We will expand the crisis management system to the 48th Precinct and the 52nd Precinct. There you go. And I want everyone, anyone who's involved in the Cure Violence movement, stand up for a moment so we can thank you for all you do. Thank you very, very much. Well done. Thank you. Now, another thing we need to do, particularly when it comes to our young people, is making sure, if God forbid they do end up involved with the criminal justice system, that we handle them in the right way, that we help put them on the right path after that encounter. And one of the things that does that is what's called youth court. And youth court is a proven methodology, but I know this is not going to shock Bronxites. There's been too many instances in the past where other parts of the city got something and the Bronx didn't get it. So the Bronx has not had a youth court, even though other boroughs did. So the Bronx has not had a youth court until now. We are going to bring youth court to the Bronx. Now, I want to just do a couple other quick topics. And I think it's fair to say, wherever I go, every neighborhood in New York City, after public safety, because everyone understands public safety is the basis for everything else, for being able to live and work and have your kids brought up in the right environment, everything depends on public safety. But unquestionably, the issue that people raise to me the most is affordability, affordable housing, the ability to stay in your own neighborhood, the ability to afford your own city. Richie talked about our affordable housing plan. It will reach 500,000 people over the next few years. 500,000 people. But the need is unbelievable in this city. And so we have to keep creating more and more affordable housing and help people stay in the affordable housing they do have. And that's what we're going to talk about tonight, too. But I want to emphasize, on top of all the things we have to do to build more affordable housing, subsidize affordable housing, protect people who have affordable housing, the number one historic base of affordable housing in this city, the number one source of affordable housing is the New York City Housing Authority. Our NYCHA buildings, 400,000 people live in NYCHA buildings, 400,000 people. And I want people to understand what Richie talked about before, that we used to have a federal partner. When public housing was built in the 30s, 40s, 50s, into the 60s, the federal government funded a whole lot of it. We don't have a federal partner anymore. We somehow, as a city alone, are going to have to find a way to support everyone in public housing, and it must remain public. I want to emphasize this. No privatization. It must remain public. So in this last budget alone, and over the last 4 years, we've been adding more and more to NYCHA in every budget. Just in the last budget, just for roofs, $1 billion. Just to fix roofs in 900 buildings. And that needs to be added to constantly, but I'll tell you what it means in real life. Let me give you an example of Parkside houses. Parkside houses had roofs that needed to be fixed, and they will be done by the end of this month. New roofs will be in place. Also, there's other things we have to invest in to make life in public housing good and safe and rewarding for everyone. So just two examples. We're investing $300,000 to repair the sidewalks at Monterey houses, and that will start next month, that repair work. And we're going to invest $1.6 million for repairs at the Parkside Senior Center. So that's so important for the good of the community. Now, let me tell you about another thing, and I've got just a couple more things I want to say, and then we're going to open up. Our parks. My experience as a parent, and my son Dante just got finished being a teenager on September 4th. He turned 20. So I'm still shaking from having been a parent of teenagers. But I think back to my daughter Kiara, my son Dante. They grew up in our parks. That's like where they spent so much of their life. And our parks are so important to the whole family, particularly our kids. So your council member mentioned that we've been making investments already. And one of the ones we announced just last week was part of our Community Parks Initiative. We're trying to make sure that resources for parks don't go just to the famous parks and the ones that are very blessed to have a lot of private patrons, but also go to everyday parks around the boroughs that everyone uses. So Mapes Ball Field is an example. Wow. Wow. There is a lot of love for Mapes Ball Field here. Wow. I have never actually seen a ball field elicit that much emotion before. I'm quite impressed. Your councilman worked hard. He secured millions. We're going to put $10.5 million on top of that to do the renovation. And Richie announced that also a major investment is being made. I want to give him credit for the money he put in, your Senator Jeff Klein. I want to give Borough President Ruben Diaz Jr. credit. Everyone got together and we joined them. And together we're putting $3.6 million in to rebuild Waring Playground. Now, some of you knew about some of that before, but the next one is brand new and no one knows about it. This is what we call, you know, when you watch CNN, it says breaking news on the screen. This is breaking news. So I heard about this in preparation for this town hall meeting, and I was astounded. We were talking about issues of concern to the community, and we were talking about some soccer fields that are in such bad shape that the Department of Parks won't even give permits anymore because it's not safe for people to use them. And I said, that's not acceptable in New York City. Any neighborhood has a park that people can't even use. So we will be investing $5.4 million to renovate the soccer fields at Quarry Road Ball Fields. And we will put in an additional $2 million for sidewalks and seating and landscaping and bleachers so people can actually watch the games. Finally, see if I can get my fingers to work here, shifting these pages. Thank you. Yeah, good news is okay, right? We can take our time for that. The thing I have been particularly proud of, I'm going to say one more big thing and then a small thing, but something that means a lot to me and a lot of people here. The thing I'm very proud of, and it was the number one thing I came here to do, was pre-K for all our children. In Councilmember Torres's district, since this initiative started, there are now 600 more full-day pre-K seats for free for the children of this district. And we are looking forward soon to starting, well, we started it, but we're looking forward to expanding it. It's actually begun in District 7 here in the Bronx and District 23 in Brooklyn. For the very first time, we're giving early child education for free for 3-year-olds, 3K for 3-year-olds. And our goal is to make that universal in the next 4 years, that every 3-year-old can get early childhood education for free in this city. I got to do one public service announcement related to what we're doing on education. I got to test this room. I've been asking this question at town hall meetings around the city. I want to see what you say. How many people in this room, and tell me if you knew this already, how many people in this room know that after-school programs are available for all middle school kids for free in New York City? How many people knew that? Okay, that's a good number who knew it. For everyone who didn't know it, I want to make sure it's clear. Any 6th, 7th, or 8th grader now has a universal right to free after school. It may not be in their own school building, but it will be in their neighborhood. There's a seat for them for free. Tutoring, recreation programs, cultural programs. A lot of people at town hall meetings ask me about the things we need to do for our young people to keep them away from danger and to give them positive experiences. So this is an example, but I need everyone to spread the word. Any 6th grader, 7th grader, 8th grader from basically 3 o'clock to 6 o'clock, we've got a safe, positive place for them for free. So let's get that word out there. Finally, I want to talk about something that's in this district and is a treasure for this whole city. And I am a very, very proud Italian American, but I think one thing we can say about all New Yorkers is they appreciate Italian culture, Italian art, and Italian food. And the Arthur Avenue Market. The Arthur Avenue Market is a treasure in this district. So we are going to work with our friends from the market and from the community. We're going to work on a long-term plan to invest in the market, to strengthen it, to make it great for years and years ahead. But right away, people in the market, when I went there to visit a few months ago with Richie, they said, you know what, we need some things right now. We need new flooring, we need new bathrooms, so we're going to put $500,000 in right away to fix the things that are needed right now and start towards a long-term investment plan for that market. There are many things to be proud of in the Bronx. There are many things to be proud of in the Bronx. Richie, look at me, Richie. Look at me. Okay? There are many things to be proud of, and the Arthur Avenue Market is one of them for sure. So we're going to invest in it. All right, with that, again, thank you to everyone for being here. Buckle your seatbelts because it's going to be a long and exciting evening. I look forward to a dialogue with the community. Richie Torres will now be your moderator. Thank you, everybody.
I'm going to go section by section. Remember, one question, be brief, and then be gone. Bernadette.
Well, thank you, Richie. Thank you, Richie, and thank you, Mayor de Blasio. My name is Bernadette Ferrara. I'm the president of the Van Ness Neighborhood Alliance. I'm also on Community Board 11 for over 9 years. So welcome. So my question, I represent Van Ness. So Van Ness is made up of primarily 2- and 3-family homes. When 311 complaints regarding SROs, illegal basement conversions, residential homes that are running social programs are reported to the Department of Building, DOB is unable to follow through to gain access to any of these properties. We even had an electrified backyard fence at one time. SL-4s are reportedly posted, yet the next step of issuing a warrant as it is written on the SL4 is never pursued. This is a chronic citywide problem, and the problems with DOB, they date back as far as 2002. My question, how will you fix the Department of Building so that they will be able to follow through, gain access, and issue warrants for property owners that fail to respond to LS-4s?
Great question. Thank you. Well, I really appreciate that question because I think you're just plain right. I look at these town hall meetings. I will tell you if I agree with you. I'll tell you if I disagree with you. And sometimes people bring up a concern. They say the government's not doing something well enough. And there's times when I have to just say, you're right, because I don't think we're doing it well enough. So I've talked to our Commissioner, Rick Chandler, who has done a lot to try to improve and modernize the Department of Buildings and make it more responsive, but we have more to do. Here's what I will pledge to tonight. We need to get a protocol going between Department of Buildings and the NYPD. Because if there's illegal activity and we can't get access, that's a catch-22. I understand why Department of Buildings inspectors are not law enforcement officers, but we have law enforcement officers who, because of their incredible work, are able to deal more and more with quality of life issues than they used to be able to when there was so much more violent crime to deal with. We need a protocol. I have to make this happen by bringing our police commissioner, our buildings commissioner together to say, how do we back up the DOB so they can actually follow through? So you're raising the right issue. I'm going to go work on it, and I will come back to the council member in the next few weeks with a plan on how we can actually strengthen the DOB's ability to get at these problems. Thank you for raising it.
Ma'am? Yep.
Good evening. My name is Margie Gonzalez. Thank you, Mayor Blasio and Councilman Ritchie and all of the important people being here. I partake in the UPK teaching, and it is a phenomenal experience. I just need to ensure that we strengthen our infrastructure, that we have proper spending, that we develop very close ties with families, and that families can be held accountable so that the educators can
All right, give me one thing I can respond to here, because you're saying a bunch of things which I'm sure are heartfelt, but
It's more information than anything else.
Okay.
It's just to ensure that the relationship between families and educators are good so that we can ensure the children's success completely.
Thank you very much, and thank you for the work you do. I appreciate that very much. Let me speak just very quickly. 2 straightforward points. Let me say to all the parents in the room, so I was a public school parent, and my wife Shirley and I believe this strongly from our own experience. Public schools are better if parents are involved in them, right? It's as simple as that. And we are trying to create a better culture in the Department of Education to welcome parental involvement. We have more work to do, but parents also have to make sure they are engaging in every way. Here's what we know. Pre-K, there are no parents who are more focused on what's going on in the classroom than pre-K parents, because the very beginning. And I remember when my daughter Kiara went to pre-K, you know, Charlene and I, I'm going to use a scientific term here. Charlene and I were freaked out because, you know, our daughter was going to a school and she's only 4 and we were trying to make sense of it all. So we were all the time talking to the teacher and going, you know, to the classroom whenever we could. We want to get that parent involvement that starts so energetically, and we want to sustain it. And the thing that we did with the last teacher contract is very important. We added time into every teacher's work week explicitly to communicate with parents. Not just to have, we used to have 2 parent-teacher conferences a year, which was crazy, in my opinion. You couldn't learn enough, you couldn't connect enough. We do 4 now, but we also every week give teachers assigned time to get on the phone with parents or email with parents or meet with parents to maximize that communication. So that is an example of how we want to glue parents to their schools early and then keep them heavily engaged. Thank you.
Shut up.
Alhamdulillah wa salatu wa salamu wa ala ali Muhammadin wa sahabi ajmeen. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah, my brothers and sisters in Islam, and thank you, Mayor de Blasio, for coming once again to the Bronx and being supportive of the Muslim community.
Yes, sir.
Councilman Richie Torres and also Senator, what's his name again? I love that brother. And the Honorable Darcel Clark, she's always very supportive.
Senator what's-his-name is a fine leader.
Yeah, he's a very good leader. Now, listen, I only do that because I joke around with him. But the question I would like to ask you is, within the Islamic community here in the New York City, abroad, with all of the Majlis Shura's Islamic Council, the largest Islamic council that you have in the state of New York. And what we need is support in small business, in permits that have been already applied with the expansions at our mosque, and also in transparency in working with the New York City Commission on Human Rights on
All right, you got to give me one thing to respond to, because again,
Okay.
we're going to have a simple...
How can we work together and be more open with all city agencies? Because we need more of the advocacy.
Okay. The answer to that, so we did something in this administration that was never done before. I have a senior advisor whose name is Sarah Saeed, who focuses her energy on maximizing the connection between Muslim communities in the city and the city government, making sure there's communication, making sure there's answers to concerns, making sure that the community gets to meet with leadership of different agencies at a high level. So I would like Sarah to follow up with you about the community here, and because she can work with you, whether it is a buildings department issue, a police issue, an education issue, she can be someone who can help you get the access you need to the decision makers that you need to talk to. So we will set that up. Our team will set up that meeting for you. Thank you.
This section, ma'am.
Hi, good evening, everyone. Thank you, Mayor de Blasio. Thank you so much, Congressman Ritchie. Oh, I'm just getting nervous.
Well, he's gotten a promotion during the town hall meeting.
I see the future.
Wow.
I see the future.
I appreciate your foresight.
Was it as
My name is
easy as that?
Oh.
Wow.
Sorry. Okay. Anyway.
Somewhere to go in 4 years. So.
Okay, that's okay. My name is Adise Fuse, and I'm a teacher for the New York City Board of Education.
Thank you. Thank you.
As a matter of fact, I worked in this school for 10 years, but that's neither here nor
right.
there.
Thank you.
My question is this, Mayor. There's a high percentage of autistic children in the Bronx, in the community of the Bronx.
Yep.
And more I'm seeing programs that need to be, they have to be able to help these children because they are part of the community just as we are. And I guess I'm looking to find out, what are we doing in terms of monies? Instead of reaching out to places like New Rochelle or Yonkers to get services for our children in the Bronx, what are we doing now in terms of money
Thank
for
you.
them?
Yolanda, come on over. So, I just want to remind all the members of my team, when your topic is called, come all the way over here.
Yes, sir.
And before I turn to Executive Superintendent Yolanda Torres, I want to start by saying, so look, we've seen the whole society this growing understanding of young people on the autism spectrum. There's been a remarkable sort of growth in people's understanding and recognition of what we need to do to serve these young people. And it is a spectrum. They're all different at different points with different abilities. But a lot of young people have thrived in our public schools when we provide the right programming for them, even if they're on the spectrum. So that's actually been an area where we've invested a lot and created programs all over the city, and it's amazing what a positive impact it's having. In terms of resources for the Bronx and access that Bronx parents could have if they have kids on the autism spectrum, Executive Superintendent, tell us what you know.
Hey, good evening. So first of all, it's very important for parents to be well informed of what the schools have to offer. It's very important for you to reach out to the guidance counselors, to the principals as well, because under equity and excellence, we want to be sure that we are providing quality education to all students, and we want to be very sensitive to the needs of the children, but also we want to ensure that they are integrated into our community and based on their needs, provide them with the differentiated support that they need. So I would encourage you to reach out to the principal and to the guidance counselor to see what are the offerings, because we also have an office of the Division of Special Education, and they're doing some great things in terms of bringing the community together, bringing parents together, and informing parents how to also support their children at home.
Can you give a sense, though, of the resources available now in the Bronx, or that we have coming into play? Because I know there's been some programs developed in different parts of the city. Do you have a sense of what's here and what's coming here?
Well, we have, for example, we have the superintendent of District 9, where we have NEST programs in, I think, in District 10, Superintendent Halla. So these are Horizon specialized programs for these students as well. So I think also reaching out to the superintendent, you are in District 10, she's here. She can be more specific in terms of what what's being provided for the Bronx, especially District 10.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I'm going to start with the front, and then I will go to the back, and then the front. But, ma'am.
Good evening, Your Honor. It's good to see you again since our last town hall meeting. My name is Lucille Bowles Wilson. I am a senior advocate now for the entire Bronx, okay? I live in Wakefield. I used to go to church in Soundville, but now I travel all over the Bronx every day and every night. And as I travel, the seniors are approaching me because their problem is senior housing, as my problem also. Now, I know the housing, I see them up all over the Bronx, but what I see is affordable housing. What I need to see and what we seniors need to see and get a listing of affordable senior housing.
Okay.
Because, hold on.
No, I'm not going anywhere. I'm just getting some notes.
Okay.
I'm not leaving.
Okay. Because they're coming to me and they want all of this information. Okay. And I am a victim also, and I need it for them as for myself. Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you. First of all, thank you. I want to thank you for advocating for seniors all over the Bronx. Let's give her a round of applause for her good work. So, our housing commissioner, Maria Torres Springer, will speak to some of what we're doing, but I want to emphasize this. First of all, seniors can apply for any and all community housing, affordable housing that we put out. No, late, and you, I got an expert here. We do have affordable housing explicitly for seniors, but that does not stop seniors from applying for other types of affordable housing we make available. So there is a special recognition of the needs of seniors because some of the housing is just for seniors, other housing for anyone but seniors can apply, and in fact there's a senior preference baked into some of that. There also happens to be a disability preference in our affordable housing program. So a lot of people don't realize that there may be more opportunity in that lottery process than they might have imagined. Now, I want to be real with everyone. Everybody in our beloved city wants affordable housing. So when we say lottery, it's a lottery, all right. A lot of people are applying. That being said, I meet every day people who actually have won the lottery. I've been to their apartments. I've met them. And the point is that people need to keep staying in that game because more and more people are getting the housing as more and more is being preserved and built. But let me be clear. We, loud and clear, and your councilman's made this point to me and a lot of other people, we got to do more for seniors proportionally. So we've done a lot, but we got to keep doing more for seniors and for lower income seniors in particular. An example to you, we added $2 billion in the June budget, this June, $2 billion to get 10,000 more units to be lower income and to make a big chunk of those to be senior units. So we keep trying to update our program according to demand and need, and the senior piece is particularly a huge demand, and the senior population is growing in this city. So we have to accommodate. Commissioner, tell us what you want to say about this matter.
Good evening, ma'am. Thank you for your question. As the mayor mentioned, as part of the progress to date in terms of our housing plan, there are, let me give you an exact number, close to 5,000 units that have already been preserved or created. That goes in the bucket that the mayor mentioned of specifically for seniors. But he's also right that seniors are eligible for the rest of the units that have been created or preserved. The one thing that I would like you to know and everyone else here is that while there is huge demand, one thing that we are trying to do better and better at every day is to make sure that people have the information both about what the lottery is, but how to make sure that you are applying for the units that you are eligible for, so that that process is streamlined, that your time is not wasted, and you have the best shot at that. And so I would be more than happy to make sure, and there are a number of our colleagues here, after this, to the extent that you need information on that, we're happy to stay because it's important to us, not just that you are aware of the housing opportunities, but you are in the best position to apply for them.
And I'll finish that with one other point. A lot of people need some help and some coaching in how to apply, and we want them to apply. We want it to make it easier, so we have a single application that you can now do through Housing Connect and apply to developments that are being created all over the city. But we had an example, a town hall meeting a couple days ago in Brooklyn, of someone who got turned down for affordable housing, but they said that their application was originally accepted and then they got told there was a problem with it. They didn't realize they could appeal and actually get that apartment. So the commissioner was there and she said, no, wait a minute, you can appeal that and we can help you do it and you can get back on track and get that apartment. So we want to make it easier for people to know how to apply so more and more people get the apartments they need. Thank you.
We're going to move to this section. Ma'am?
Thank you. Thank you, Mayor de Blasio. I have a very, very important concern. Thanks for the work that has been achieved with Vision Zero, but there's a type of crime that has hardly been addressed, and that's traffic violence. You know, people getting hit by motorists and getting killed or hurt. And I'm calling on you to work more towards that Vision Zero of having less traffic fatalities with enforcement. I don't see any enforcement of the right-of-way. I don't see any enforcement of, you know, when I have to cross the street, I have to sometimes tell motorists to back up because they don't let me cross, you know, where the box is at.
Yep.
Because they stop right to there into the box. So I'm calling for a campaign, something similar to what it was used to done to Don't Drink and Drive, like once a year, that you can have an enforcement for 1 week for these motorists that do not respect traffic rules.
Thank you.
So
I think that's a great point. Thank you. Thank you. And I want to tell you, I think you make a very powerful point. We have Vision Zero over the last 3 years has continually driven down traffic fatalities and injuries. But what we need to do is even more deeply change driver behavior. And so there is a certain amount of advertising and public service announcements, but I agree with you, you need to do more, particularly on the failure to yield part. The NYPD is doing more and more summonses for failure to yield, and I think that's one of the ways you change behaviors by creating consequence. But let me ask this so that we can follow up tangibly, and let's get the microphone back. Do you have a particular area you want to focus us on that you think is a problem area?
Yes, when crossing the crosswalks, motorists stop right at the crosswalk, especially for people in wheelchairs.
But where specifically?
Excuse me?
Where? Give me a specific intersection that's a problem.
Oh, but okay, especially here in Fordham Road.
Fordham Road?
Fordham Road, Webster Avenue, 3rd Avenue.
Okay, who's got that area? Okay. So, let's get...
Yes. Trucks don't stop. When they gotta make a left turn, they don't stop to yield to pedestrians.
Okay, so this is an example. Thank you for that example. So, Captain's going to speak to this, and the message that I have given to Commissioner O'Neill, and he believes in this strongly, is that where we see a problem, we need to intensify enforcement. There has to be consequences. Drivers have to see the NYPD out there to change the behavior. So Fordham Road, you know the stretch she's talking about? Tell us what you're going to do.
Thank you for your question. So in the 5-2 precinct, Fordham Road is one of our priority corridors that we focus on. Year to date this year, we are up 11% in issuing summonses in Fordham Road. And one of the reasons we target this area is not only because it's historical, but we do get injury at various corridors, at various intersections. We do get injury accidents from pedestrians, and so we target this area, and we are now up 11%. And in particular, we are focusing on the right summonses, high quality, what we call Vision Zero high quality summonses, where fail to yield to pedestrian, turning, fail to yield on a left turns, and we're going to continue enforcement in that area.
Good. Okay, you're good. That's the answer. That's a good answer. Thank you.
Yeah, I just want to remind, I know everyone has their hands up. I'm going section by section. So I'm at the section, bow tie. Which section? No, I asked someone at the section.
We're coming around. We'll
Bow tie.
keep coming around and coming around. It's going to be a long night. Who's got it?
Hello.
Where am I looking?
Mayor.
Ah, there you
Hi.
are.
I'm a student in school right now.
Yeah.
And my concern is safety in school right now. My request is to improve school safety is to make sure that the metal detectors are increasing or the amount of police there, like staff, because I believe in my school that there's a huge population that doesn't meet the requirements of how many metal detectors are there.
What school? Do you mind saying what school?
It's a campus. It's Theodore Roosevelt campus, or like any other campus like Clinton that's huge, that's broken down.
Tell me again. I just couldn't hear. Which one?
Theodore Roosevelt campus.
Okay. So, Chief, let me turn to Chief Conroy, or you want to start with us? Or you want? Okay. So we're going to talk about this issue. Let me start and pass the ball. Every school community needs to help the NYPD and DOE understand what they want. We obviously ultimately make the decisions based on safety. And the ultimate arbiter is the NYPD. And I think there's been some misinformation over the years. School safety is obviously a central part of NYPD. It is the highest standard of public safety and law enforcement anywhere is the NYPD. So a decision on metal detectors is made ultimately by the NYPD, but with close consultation with the educators and with the larger school community. If a school community wants metal detectors to be put in, then the NYPD will evaluate that. If a school community wants them to come out, the NYPD will evaluate that. The ultimate decision is made on safety. So let's speak about this campus and where we stand.
Hi, good evening. I'm Inspector Joe Moscat from the School Safety Division. I'm the adjutant, and for many years I did cover school safety in the Bronx, specifically. All the times that I was up in the Bronx, now Theodore Roosevelt has scanning, full-time scanning for many years, and it's been extremely successful there. In addition to Theodore Roosevelt, we have 82 other schools throughout the city, full-time scanning. At the same time, we have teams that go out, what we call unannounced scanning. So if we see a problem in a school, or we get information there may be a problem the next day, we'll swing a whole team over to that school to do scanning for that day, maybe 2 days or 3 days. This has been extremely successful in taking weapons out of the hands of kids that might bring them to school and discouraging other kids from bringing weapons into the schools. As a result, we've had a huge success in bringing violence down in the schools, but as you know, any single incident is deeply disturbing to all of us. So we continue to do that and depend on information from students and parents.
So that gives you an overview, but I'd like you to do a personal follow-up to hear the specifics you're seeing and see if something more has to be done on that campus.
We'll meet right after this
Thank
meeting.
you.
Okay, thank you.
And also from the school's perspective, also, we encourage the students to engage in dialogue with the staff because we also want to build the relationships and the trust from students and teachers. And we're also encouraging, the students to speak up and also share because the staff also have monthly safety meetings where they discuss these concerns. So please feel free to share with staff members. Thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone? Sir.
Good evening, Mayor de Blasio, Councilman Richie Torres. Good evening. I'm a Local 3 member, longtime Bronx resident. I know at the previous town hall meeting, I brought this topic up about non-union being built in the Bronx as much as it is. A lot of these buildings are being posted as New York City buildings, and a lot of them are what's called, I guess, private-public partnerships. They're being built privately and then later being considered public buildings. They're getting a lot of tax breaks and a lot of funding from the city. So I was wondering if the city could work to make these safe projects by trying to make them union projects, because in the last week we had 2 deaths. Some deaths are unavoidable. Obviously, construction is a dangerous business, and I know that every day. But major cities like Boston, Chicago have a more union footprint in what's being built in their cities and are a lot safer.
Thank
you. I'd like to also thank you for what you've done for Puerto Rico in the last week and everything that's been said.
Thank you, brother.
Thank you.
Thank you. Well, let me speak to Richie. Hold on, I gotta speak to the question. I'm sorry. Hold on 1 second. You jumped the gun there. It actually has to be an answer.
Fair enough.
Okay. So first, I just want to say, it's because this good man raised the point about Puerto Rico. I just want to say this to everyone, that we, as of today, have 150 New York City employees on the ground helping the people of Puerto Rico right now. And we're about to send more down. We're about to send more down, and look, this is something everyone can help with, because you've seen that the fire department, the police department are now sponsoring these drives to get the things that Puerto Rico needs, and I keep telling people this is not going to be months, this is going to be years before Puerto Rico's back on its feet. So please, anyone who looks at those pictures and feels the pain that I feel, do something about it. Whatever you can do. Even if you can only give a little, give whatever you can, because Puerto Rico needs us. They're going to need us for the long haul. On the question about union labor and construction, my preference always, I'm going to be very straightforward, I've said this to numerous leaders in labor and everyday rank and file members. My preference is for union labor in construction across the board. That being said, very real point, when it comes to something that's public, like affordable housing, I need a B rate, I need some kind of economic adjustment because of the pressures we're under to produce the amount of affordable housing we need to. We're still working to try and achieve that more often. But on the safety question, you're absolutely right. This is a tough profession, and it's a very dangerous profession. The council worked with the administration and has passed now legislation that I think is going to change things for the better, to require training for construction workers, to bring more parity, to make all sites have to live up to the higher standards that the labor movement has already had for safety training. So while we're addressing the bigger issue of trying to maximize union labor in a lot of the things we do, and we certainly have had a lot of project labor agreements with public housing, for example, that have maximized union labor effectively, we have done something foundational by creating new laws to require a lot more training to make sure our workers are safe.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, and to our city council person. My name is Sally Smith, and I live on Valentine Avenue between 180th and 181st Street. We have various problems with the sidewalks where the city property and abandoned housing. Sidewalks.
City property, and what was that last part?
And we don't know who owns the other properties adjoining it. For years.
Abandoned housing? Did you say abandoned?
Property. There's
okay.
No house there. For years, the sidewalks are cradles. You cannot walk. And this is not only a problem in front of those properties, but throughout the city where no one lives in the house, the sidewalk becomes deplorable and nobody can walk on it. I have spoken to the councilman, I've called 311. This is 10 years in the making. It's time that we ask that the city, they come and make us fix our sidewalks, or they come and repair them and charge us. Now, we want to know how long it's going to take to get those sidewalks that I've called 311 and been to the council.
I got you, and that's a very good question. Okay. And I have to say, I'm really glad you're raising it, because this is one of these things where, again, it's like the earlier question, there are some things I'm not satisfied with how the city is handling. So down the block from my house in Brooklyn was an abandoned house that for the longest time was just sitting there getting worse and worse and worse. Finally, neighborhood residents got together and got the Department of Finance to step in, and that house was actually taken down. So I've seen with my own eyes what a negative impact to have on community, but you're making I think, an additional point of if the sidewalk is all messed up and no one's taking responsibility for it, that's a danger to the community. So I know Department of Finance is part of it. I don't know if they're here. Is there anyone else, HPD or anyone else, or which agency? I'm sorry. Finance, okay. I think you're part of the answer. I don't know if DOT or whoever else, but help me out. Let's make up a clear answer here. I don't mean make up in the bad way. I mean, let's put together a clear answer. So if a community has an abandoned house, it is an eyesore, and it's creating safety problems on the sidewalk, what do we do about it?
I think the first step is the inspections. We need to go there, take a look at it, make sure appropriate fines are assessed, and finance is part of the enforcement mechanism. That if the problem isn't fixed with the appropriate agency, we can be involved with trying to, clamp down on any problem, and if possible, take the property away.
So that's what I was hoping to hear, that last part. So there's a scenario where we can let me just finish, where we can seize the property. If we have this situation, since DOT focuses on sidewalks, if in the intervening time the sidewalk is a danger, what can we do?
If we go out there and assess that the sidewalk is a danger, then we can make some emergency repairs to the sidewalk in the interest of public safety.
Okay. Do you know where this location is?
Is this in Valentine? Okay.
Okay. So now we are going to do some.
I did a walkthrough.
We're going to do some problem solving. Department of Transportation, Department of Finance. So let's get people out there in the next few days. If I think you are going to find what you're hearing, there is a danger and there's delinquency in the house, etc., then let's get you guys going to make the repairs and you guys going to try and take the property. Okay? Thank you.
Hello, good afternoon. I'm Mayor de Blasio and Richie. Thank you for having me here. I'm here with New York City Housing Authority with the Painter Apprentice Program. And it's for people that live in New York City Housing Authority and get them off of public assistance and get them to work. And they're cutting us now. So we're clapping, but they're cutting us December 31st. So we're trying to figure out why they're cutting us and laying off 131 people.
Okay.
Can I actually,
Please.
the Painter's Apprenticeship Program
Yes.
began as a council initiative. And then last year, the mayor's office took it over because NYCHA was no longer converting from capital to operating. And what's unfortunate here is that it's about a 4-year program.
Yes.
You're in your 3rd year. So we've
Yes.
funded 3 years, and then we're withdrawing it in the 11th hour.
And it defeats
So
the
that's-
purpose of us being a painter. If we don't complete it in 4 years, then I can't get a job as a painter.
So what you're saying, everyone needs 1 more year.
1 year and 6 months, we're like...
This class.
Okay.
Yes.
Do you
So,
know if
yes,
there's
I
a
do.
resolution?
I know. And the agency is, thank you for your question, first of all. The agency has made a commitment to continue the program for the painters that are in your cohort. So we will not be ending it for you. The question will be, will the program accept new members? And that has been put on hold.
But for everyone,
folks that are in
everyone's
the program,
in the program. We'll get to see
they
it
are
through to
fine. We
conclusion.
will
All right,
commit
you're
to
good.
that.
Thank you so
You are
much,
good.
Richie and Mayor de Blasio.
Mr. Simmons?
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, Richie, and others here. First off, I want to start by saying thank you for the work you're about to do in front of Monterey. I'm Gil Simmons. I'm the TA president there. I'm also a community board member and the resident watch supervisor.
You stay busy.
The lighting is great and all that. I heard you mention something about the Quarry Ball Field, and I want to say thanks for that as well. But there is a section of the Quarry Ball Field. I've been in that development for 20 years. And we wanted to do a gardening project there to bring that section up. What I need to know is whom can we speak with that we can get
we need
that
parks, too.
property.
There you go.
And it sits right across the street from the Monterey development. How can we get that property to look as good as it should?
Okay, I can give you the beginning. I'm going to pass to our Parks Commissioner, and our Parks Commissioner for the city, Mitch Silver, and his Borough Commissioner will be the people who will follow up. I know that we want to take that land and make it look good for the community and make it a positive attribute. I know there's been a community garden proposal. I think Parks has a couple of other similar ideas, but either way you slice it, something will be a great enhancement. So, Mitch, how are we going to proceed?
There are clearly other parts of that park that need to be improved, and we'll continue to look to identify funds to improve the rest of the park. In terms of gardening, as you probably know, we have an incredible Green Thumb program. We have over 600 gardens. Some are functioning well. Some need some support, and so we'll certainly work with you for some of those gardens that may need some support to see if there's something nearby that we can work and engage you to help bring those community gardens back to life.
Okay, but we're going to work on that specific land to activate it in the appropriate way, and you and where's your borough commissioner? Yes, we'll follow up. Excellent. Thank you.
We have 3 hours. Right, there are hundreds of people here. Organizing a town hall is a logistical challenge. I understand, but we have 3 hours. Thank you.
In all due respect, Mayor de Blasio, I'm a representative of the Ryer Avenue Homeowners Association. I'm a Bronx homeowner, taxpayer, and active voter. Again, in all due respect, I voted for you thinking that you represented all of the working class. Affordable housing, realistically, is paid for by us. It's really our tax money.
What's the concern?
I will get to the question in 1 second. Oversaturating small blocks is causing a whole host of issues for us homeowners. I'm talking about 8+ on a small street block.
8+ what? Help me.
8+ funded housing, whether a mixture of shelters and transitional and who knows what. Yes, there is affordable housing with a lot of gun shootings and now cops with the yellow strings, yellow tape and all that. A bulleted signed petition was sent to you.
Go ahead.
A bulleted signed petition was relayed to you by Famad Kuna, and now I had just given one to Mr. Cortez.
Okay.
My question is, do you represent homeowners at all, and if so, how?
Well, I am a homeowner myself, and I do represent homeowners as well, and I want to right up front remind you that the affordable housing programs of this administration reach people who are working class, reach people who are middle class, reach people who are nurses, firefighters, police officers, teachers. So I respect the question. I know it's asked with sincerity, but I do not want there to be the illusion that affordable housing only means the poorest people. There are a lot of low-income people who need affordable housing, but there's a lot of working class and middle class people who need affordable housing too. All of that is part of our program to reach 500,000 people. In terms of your block, and I appreciate the concern, we try to be sensitive when we locate something, but we also have an affordable housing crisis in the city. We need every available apartment we can. Do you know, Maria, about this particular location?
So, Penny, right? Good to see you. And so for on one project that I know is on Ryer Avenue is 2053, right? Is that one of them? Yeah. And so for this particular...
We had a conversation about this project.
Yes. And so... Okay. Yeah.
Okay. Go ahead, Maria.
So this particular project, from a zoning perspective, is as of right, which means it doesn't go through the regular public approval process. It is it's a supportive housing project that will serve 52 formerly homeless individuals, and then a mix of 1, 2, 3 bedrooms for people of different incomes. It's the type of project that is important to us, given our need to make sure that there is housing for people of different incomes and backgrounds. Having said that, I know that there are specific concerns about parking and about the height of the building. This is something that we have been and continue to be very open to working with you and other members of the community to make sure that the project is one that is respectful of what is happening in the area. But as the mayor said, it's an important one to make sure that we are meeting the affordable housing needs of this community and the city as much as we can.
Okay.
No, Penny, your question was asked, but we will follow. Hold on. I don't.
Again, I will answer it. Again, we're not going to do back and forth, but I want to finish this point because it's a fair point. It's representing homeowners. If people in this city, all kinds of people, one, can afford to live in their own city. All the people who do the work in this city, which serves everybody, the public servants, the people who make our businesses run, need to be able to live in their own city. But second, with the stuff that is about, with the housing that is there to serve folks who were homeless, we as a city do not want homeless people on our streets. Morally or otherwise, we do not want homeless people on our streets. We have to create solutions. As a homeowner myself, what do we care about as homeowners? We care about safety, we care about quality of life, we care about the value of our property. Having a city that can make sure that homeless people don't end up on the street is actually good for the entire city, including homeowners. We can do it in a way that is safe. We can do it in a way that does not decrease property values. And right now, if you look around this entire city, decreasing property values is not the problem. In fact, in so many communities, they're skyrocketing. So I believe we can accomplish that goal in a way that can still be respectful of the needs of communities. That's my belief.
Ma'am.
Good evening to our community members and our distinguished Mayor de Blasio. MS-254, welcome you. It's an honor for you, for us to have you here. My question is, we need help. We need some speed bumps for our schools because the area is very
Speed bumps around the schools?
Yes.
All right.
We had an incident last week when a kid got hit by a car. So it's
Okay.
very important.
And also, which precinct covers this school?
48th, right?
Come on over. 48th precinct. Okay, I don't want to combine them on this. So, I want to turn it into two pieces. One, let's do the here and now. There was an incident where a child got hit by a car. What are we doing to help protect kids around the school right now with police resources? And then two, how we go about evaluating a speed bump for this location. You start.
All right, as far as protecting the pedestrians as they cross and traverse throughout the city, what we have is our traffic unit at the 4A precinct, and part of their task is to address speeding. So currently in the 4A precinct, our speeding enforcement is up 23%, and that includes this area. We'll look at that more specific to the school and the hours of entry and dismissal to help and assist with the children.
But I want to make sure that's happening quick because, hold on, we don't, I just need everyone, don't get too much into back and forth because we want to try and get to as many people as possible. So they'll follow up directly with you, but I want to emphasize this is a right now problem if a kid just got hit, so that we're going to get in there quick and assess
Absolutely.
what you have to do.
We target the areas throughout the week. We see where the conditions are, and that's where we deploy our resources.
And you'll follow up follow up tonight. Okay, go ahead.
So my staff can speak to you tonight. We could take the location and initiate a speed hump study tomorrow. However, we also have a specific unit at DOT, a school safety unit, that will go to your school and work with you to develop a comprehensive safety plan beyond speed humps.
And the speed humps, that a lot of places they do work, some places they don't, like on a bus route they don't work and things like that. So they have to see if it works for you, but as he said, they're going to look at other ways to increase safety as well. So they'll follow up right away.
So I have my staff in the back over there.
Okay, got it.
Right.
Thank you.
Right. Ma'am.
You get a microphone.
Hello, good evening to everybody. My name is Dior St. Hilaire, and I'm the founder of Green Fiend. Woo! Yes! And we use hip-hop to actually teach sustainability, waste reduction, and compost. We use hip-hop to teach all of that. So my question mainly is one of the things I actually did want to say is actually thank you. I wanted to offer up some appreciation to Councilman Torres. I am a grad school student at the new school, and you allowed some of our students at the Urban Public Policy Program to intern at your office, so we wanted to offer appreciation. So the question is,
there you go.
Why is there a bill currently right now that actually supports recycling styrofoam when we know that styrofoam is a non-recyclable material?
Correct.
So how do we get a bill on the books that bans styrofoam? Because we know that the Bronx handles over 30% of waste in the city. So we need to make sure that we're actually employing recyclable measures and sustainable measures that are going to make sure that we're not overburdened with the waste in our borough. Thank you.
Where did the commissioner go?
She had to leave.
It's going to be her big moment. All right. I agree with you. In fact, if you checked your history of the city council, when I was in the city council, I introduced, there you go, the bill to ban styrofoam. And that is what we intend to keep doing. So there has been a legal fight that we continue to fight because we want to ban styrofoam. Period. That is the position of this administration. We want to ban styrofoam, and we're going to work to ban styrofoam. Do you have anything to add to that?
No, thank you for your question. I will follow up if you want with you. The commissioner had to leave, but if there's something specific that I can meet with you on, then we'll address the issue.
All right, but the bottom line is we are going to fight legally to sustain the city's current position, which is the ban. And I do not believe in any legislation that will water down the ban.
I'm sorry, we're going section by section. Any residents here? No residents here. Ma'am. I'm sorry, I missed you. And then, ma'am?
Le doy las gracias al presidente del Bronx y le agradeceré que me ayude porque tengo año y medio aplicando para un apartamento y nada. Me dicen que que espere y en lista y no me contestan.
I want to thank the Borough President for being here, and I would like to get some help. I have an application for housing for over a year and a half, and they just say wait and wait, and
Okay.
I don't get any help.
We'll have, that one has to be handled individually. So the commissioner will follow up directly with her to see what we can do to help her. Thank you.
Ay, muchas gracias y que Dios le bendiga.
Thank you very much.
Ma'am? Ma'am, I showed you before, but yes.
Microphone coming.
Hi, my name is Deirdre Scott, and I want to thank Councilman Torres and, of course, Mayor de Blasio for coming to the Bronx. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
The question that I have is around cultural development here in the Bronx, and specifically, I'm a new board member for the Bronx River Arts Center, and I wanted to ask about the pace or the lack thereof around cultural development, and also how we can work better to keep the mayor's office aware of the impact that the delays are having on our community, and how we can work better with you to track such delays. You're probably aware of the Bronx River Arts Center. It is in one of the poorest districts here in the Bronx.
I'm going to cut you off nobly because I'm actually aware of it and I want to answer your question. So you raised,
Thank
you raised
so
it,
much.
and we care about it and we want to get it to happen. So our cultural affairs commissioner is here, our commissioner for design and construction is here. What do we have to do? And I know there's been some things beyond our control. But would each of you speak to how are we going to get this up and running and how quickly we can do it?
So, hello, Deirdre. How are you? And I want to thank her for the great work she's done in the Bronx, supporting the arts all over all these years. Thank you so much. So I just want to talk, I'll just say that Department of Cultural Affairs is very aware of this. We've met with leadership, and we were able to give an emergency grant of $100,000, $50,000 in last budget, $50,000 in this budget. The BRAC has also gotten a bunch of council initiatives. I don't know if it came from your office.
Yeah, absolutely.
It did from your office. So that I actually have in my pocket, I'll come back and show you in a minute, exactly. The funding has been increasing over these years because we understand the issue with, the delays and the problems with the contractor, but it's an important organization. We have been putting extra support, and we have met personally. I've met with them 2 or 3 times, leadership. So we hear you, and I could hand it over to DDC to talk about. We are in the home stretch.
Yes, hello. Thank you for your question. We apologize for the delays with the contract. We have delays due to issues with the contractor and additional scope, but we are pleased to let you know that we are looking forward to completing this project at the end of the year, and with some additional work being completed early next year and hopefully opening up right after that.
Sir.
Here. Good afternoon, Mr. Mayor. New York Communities for Change. My concern in the Bronx is that the methadone clinics, that I see going up or opening pose a problem with our schools because of the distance. that they're opening these clinics. Could you please address?
This is a challenge to begin with because different parts of the government, including the state government, deal with some of this, so it's not always as well coordinated as it could be.
Yes, that's right.
But we are sensitive to reality. I want our health commissioner, Dr. Bassett, to speak to, give her a round of applause. Look at that,
Thank
a
you.
fan club.
Well, that's nice.
The clinics are important. I just want to start at the beginning. They're important, and we're dealing with an addiction crisis once again around opioids. I mean, there's a lot of reasons why we have to recognize the things that give people treatment are in everybody's interest. But you make a fair point. We also have to balance the equation. What can you say about, particularly around schools, what should be happening?
Well, the first thing to say is the mayor has just explained, and good evening. Thank you for your question. You're not the first to ask this question. Is that it's the state, the Office of Mental Health, that licenses these. I don't have authority over their licensure as health commissioner. So the citing of them is not something that I can really help you with. So maybe I should just find out your particular complaints, but I want to echo and just take this moment since I have the mic, unless the mayor wants me to be quiet, is just how important it is to talk about treatment as part of our response to the opioid crisis. And this is so important in the Bronx. The Bronx has a quarter of all the overdose deaths in this city, and that's not right. And we know that this is not a new problem to the Bronx. You have faced opioid, particularly heroin, for decades. It was handled in the wrong way. Today, we want to treat it. So I'll follow up with you about your concern.
I'm sorry,
I want us
no
all
back
to
and forth.
support treatment.
No back and forth. Ma'am in the back.
Thank you.
Yes, the back, right there. Yes, because I've been.
Necesito traductor. Buenas noches, primeramente. Un gran placer conocer al alcalde personalmente y a Richie. Mi pregunta es, ¿qué podría hacer usted o la ciudad para mejorar la condición del edificio donde yo vivo y vivimos un sinnúmero de tenas que tenemos mucha necesidad en el building y los dueños nunca nos cumplen?
Which type of building? I want someone. ¿Qué tipo de edificio?
¿Qué tipo de edificio, señor?
Private building?
Yeah, the Section 8.
Okay. So that's, Maria, you going to help us on this? So if her landlord, or Steve, this one sounds like the situation she's raising is the landlord not providing repairs, not providing services. So I don't know the exact address, but this is one. Do you know this building she's referring to? Okay. We can make sure that you get legal support if the landlord's doing something illegal to make sure you get the repairs you need. So our team will follow up with you directly. Okay, we're good, we're good. Sure. Paula.
Good evening. Thank you for your time. The matter of concern that I would like to address with you this evening is, you mentioned earlier repairs are being made to roofs in NYCHA buildings across the city. For the last 2 years, I've worked with Murphy Housing, and nothing has been done to the roofs in those buildings. We have a community center, and if it rains heavily, the spaces that are utilized by young people and children are not available to them at all.
Chair, do you know this situation?
Yes, well, thank you for your question. So Murphy Houses, one, actually thanks to the mayor's investment, we have some facade work, so the exterior part of the building, that work should be underway now and completed by the end of the first quarter of next year. So that will help deal with some of the leakage issues that folks are experiencing. And then also we are working closely with the federal government to bring some more resources to Murphy. I think you're familiar with the rental assistance our PACT program, which will allow us to leverage some additional resources to deal with the entirety of the needs at that building. So we are trying to do some interim work with the mayor's investment, and we have a long-term plan through our PACT program, and I'd be happy to talk to you more about that afterwards.
Thank you.
Ma'am.
Hi, thank you for coming. Thank you, Richie Torres. Thank you for having us. I have recently been placed in your 80-20 program. I cannot find any information about it. The landlord did not give me any information about it. I won a lottery, apartment through the lottery. The information about the building turning into an 80-20 program was completely and totally omitted. So now I'm stuck in this building by NYCHA, because I also have a NYCHA voucher. They will not allow me to leave the building. The landlord and all of its agents, the Bronx Parent Housing Network, the Prime Security, are all harassing me. I was a residential tenant for 11 years.
Okay.
Now I'm placed into a shelter.
All
How
right,
do
hold
I
on.
get out of your program?
I understand that it's frustrating, but I want to also clarify. Anyone who's harassing you, that's not acceptable. So we'll follow up. I can't do it back and forth. I'm just going to give you an answer, and then people will follow up with you. Anyone who's harassing you is not acceptable. The vouchers for affordable apartments are exactly that. If someone finds an affordable apartment, I want to be real about the rules here, and my colleagues can weigh in with details, but there is an affordable housing crisis. If we have a valid unit available for someone, people need to take the unit that's available. There's always opportunity to move on to another one in the future. But I want to be clear. If it is an affordable housing unit, if it meets our standards and it's available, you either take it or you're saying, I don't want to take this advantage that the government is giving me. We can't. No, I'm saying, but when you say we weren't told about it, it's still affordable housing. That's the bottom line.
Yes,
It's affordable.
The question was asked. Let the mayor.
This is the one that is affordable housing and a shelter, right? And it's not just a shelter. It is a mix of. He runs the agency. He'll tell you.
So there are some buildings in the city where the landlord has said, you know what? There's a problem with providing people with shelter. We'll take the 80% that was going to be market rate, and we'll provide shelter to keep people in the communities so that their children can attend school, they can be close to work. We'll follow up with you if there's a particular problem. You're in a building where Bronx Parent is running it. We'll certainly follow up with you and see what we can do. I don't know if which one you're on, in Crotona or the Prospect. Okay, we'll follow up with you.
Okay. Ma'am, you made your point. We need to move on now. Sir, I was, but yeah.
Okay, hi. My name is Oral Salgridge. I'm an ex-Olympian, so you have one in the Bronx. My concern is the Parks Department. Many times when I coach a team, I have to go out there and clean the area for bottles and...
Say where it is again?
Harris Park, right? And there's some issues there. I know the Parks Department is doing a great job. I know Mitch Silver. So just what's the procedure? If you have a permit, do they clean it before you get there, or so the kids can have a good game and I don't end up, doing more work than I should?
The approach that we take, each park has different what we call levels of service where we clean it several times a week. Most of the time they come early in the day. So what we can do is if there is a sports taking place, I'll work with the borough commissioner to make sure that we coordinate with you so that we have crews cleaning it so the children don't have to experience all the litter in the parks. But we also encourage you, and I'm sure your students will do, the kids will do it, to also help care for that park and teach them how to care for it, love it, and also clean themselves. But we'll make sure we touch base and make sure it's clean before they play.
The borough commissioner will follow up with you.
Yeah.
Okay, good.
Hi, sorry, I can't stand my ankle. But my name is Debbie Fields, and I hear you talk about Monterey. Hi, Mr. Mayor.
Hey there.
And I live in Monterey, right? The 558 Monterey. The thing is, I've been living in the other side, 2111, from 1997, and I moved over in 558 in 2009. My floors, I can see a hole where you see the black tile, which grow asbestos. I covered it myself. I have children, 5 children, little kids. You smell gas in my apartment like nothing. Once the stove off, it's been happening for years. I complained, I gave up. You still smell it to this day, off and on. Also, my ceiling in the kitchen leaks.
Okay, let me step in. First of all, smelling gas is a danger. So
Right department several times.
no, we're gonna do command intervention here. So we need the fire department in that unit immediately. If she's smelling gas regularly, we gotta assess the safety situation. So we need that to happen tomorrow. If someone is having these kind of challenges in their unit, what can you do to address it?
So first of all, I apologize for the poor response. We have staff here this evening that I want to talk to you after. We'll get your information. We will be in your apartment tomorrow to assess what the issues are and fix the outstanding repair needs. So we will immediately deal with that. And in terms of the emergency matter, I feel like we should speak to fire department tonight if there's gas at your, is there someone home? So let's talk offline and we'll get that information.
And you smelled it recently? That's, no, they're
So,
coming right now
offline.
then. If you smelled it that recently, they have to come immediately.
Offline, we'll talk.
Okay.
I'm
This
gonna have
is
someone
next.
follow up with you right
Yes. This section. So you're next.
now. Hold on one second. Shola, bring her back a second. Bring her back a second. Her.
Hi. Thank you, Mayor de Blasio, for taking
Hold on
the
one
time.
second. I'm sorry. You gotta go get with that. Okay, continue. I'm sorry.
Okay, thank you for taking the time to come to the Bronx. And I have to say, Richie Torres is a phenomenal city council member. He is awesome.
Wow.
Just this summer, just to give you a quick example, there was graffiti on a building across the street from my home, and I thought it would take weeks and weeks and weeks to get that done, and there was a concern because graffiti can often be about gang activity, and Richie got that graffiti removed, I think, less than 2 weeks from when I brought it to his attention.
Excellent.
So
All
I
right,
really
now that you've finished
appreciate him.
praising him, tell us what your
Yes.
issue is.
And Captain Alps from the 4-9
No, stop
is
praising
doing
everyone.
a tremendous
we
job.
need you to ask a question now.
Okay. Why do you, Mayor de Blasio, why do you believe the Bronx is an ideal site for shelters when, according to many reports, we have the highest percentage of homeless and mental health beds? Why has the city failed to comply with a court order, I believe that was sent in 2003, directing them to publish a ratio of homeless beds to residential beds in the population? How many shelters do you intend to open in the Bronx?
So let me speak to this.
What voice do community
ma'am,
boards
we can't-
have in the decision about where to house
Ma'am,
shelters?
respectfully, I know you have a sheet in front of you. I said people get to raise one issue so we can get the most people. You can't do a 4-part one issue. I got the core question. Respectfully. We got ground rules in this meeting. We've got ground rules, and I'd like to answer your question, but you have to respect the process. The answer to it, we have a policy we have put out to align where people are in shelter to the borough they come from. We believe in this fundamentally. For years and years in this city, people were sent a borough away or 2 boroughs away from where they came from and put in shelter where they had no ability to have their kids in the school that they come from, their community, no connection to their house of worship, no connection to their family. That was not going to help people get out of homelessness. We are realigning the whole system so over time each community will have people from that community who happen, God forbid, they're homeless, they will be sheltered in their own community. We are closing cluster buildings, closing hotels, which in Councilmember Torres' district is going to mean a lot of homeless-oriented facilities will actually be shut down. But ultimately, we're trying to align each borough and then each community board to the community of people in shelter who come from that particular neighborhood. That's the basic answer. Go ahead. You can follow up on the... And to the other issues, I'll have the commissioner follow up with you. She's saying we're not following the legal mandates and all. Why don't you go?
Yeah, she's wrong.
I agree with you. Go ahead.
Ma'am. Yes. Yes.
Sorry.
Got microphone coming.
Good evening, Mayor de Blasio and Councilman Ritchie. And sorry, we do have to praise Councilman Ritchie because he's been doing a phenomenal job. I'm in his district. Now, Mayor de Blasio, I'll ask, what is going to happen to the Kingsbridge Armory? I'm an ice skater. I take my 4 grands and neighborhood kids as well as other friends, and I go to Brooklyn, Queens, 2 places in Manhattan to ice skate. The Bronx doesn't have enough recreational facilities.
I got you, because we have progress on the Armory. It was some ups and downs along the way, but I think we have progress from the vote that happened at the state. Why don't you explain it? James Katz from Economic Development Corporation.
Sure. So our commitment to the Kingsbridge Armory has never been stronger. We believe that the project should move forward, and we're in favor of it 100%. We got some great news earlier this year in the state budget. The monies that were needed to make the first phase of that project, the first 5 ice rinks, came through. The state boards that have needed to look at it have started to do that and have started to vote, and we're looking forward to seeing it move forward in the months ahead.
Thank you. Joe.
Mr. Mayor, how are you?
My friend, how you doing?
Joseph McManus. I chair the Land Use Committee on Community Board 11, and there's going to be 4 train stations from the MTA that are going to be put in the Bronx. Right now, all the developers are chomping at the bit. I asked one developer, you know, you're going to put this big project up. Where are the kids going to go to school? He said, that's not my problem. That's the city's problem. I know the city's working on the rezoning around the train stations, right. But I think the developers are getting ahead of the city. I would like to suggest there should be a moratorium on development, at least until the city rezones around those train stations. Because as soon as the train stations goes up, the property is going to be worth more, and there's going to be more and more developers looking to rezone without input for schools, safety. You got it.
I appreciate the question very much, and we have to get.
And I know they're working on it. The city planning, I know, is working on it, but I think the developers are working a little faster.
Well, we won't let them get ahead of us. I appreciate the question, and there was a long time in this city, I agree with you, where the city did not align to what the developers were doing effectively. I think between city planning and the school construction authority, they are much more focused now and much quicker. School construction authority is putting up buildings much more quickly than they did in the past. So I think what you said is accurate. When those stations go in, you're going to see a ton of development. I don't know the exact timeline, but I agree with you, it's going to be when they go in. So from a point of view of city planning and school construction, I just will ask them to confirm, you guys are working on a plan for this situation. So the city planning chair is here, leader of SCA is here. They're going to follow up with you directly. Thank you.
Good evening, and thank you for having us and hearing us out. And thank you for being here. I also want to thank you for having the after-school programs being free. Now, there's an issue with that because there's only 100 seats in the school where my kids go to. And a lot of my parents, well, I'm a PA, a parent association also, in the school. So a lot of my parents want their kids to stay in the school, to go to this after-school program, but they only have 100 seats, and there's over 200 kids. How can you help us with that?
Okay, so I'm going to give you 2 answers. Thank you for your question, and thank you for all you do for the school. So some places we can add, and some places we can't. That's the honest answer. Let me bring over our commissioner for DYCD, who runs the after-school programs. Which name the school again? Frederick Douglass Academy? Okay.
Okay.
So tell us quickly.
Okay. So the mayor gave us additional money this year, and we're focusing on schools that didn't have any programs, that weren't eligible 3 years ago. We're going down that list. With the money left over, we're looking at schools that severely over-enrolled. I think, I'll double check and I'll have somebody get back to you. I think your school might be on that list, and so we'll add additional money because some programs are more successful than others, and we're going to try to balance it out.
But if you have that kind of demand, that's certainly very impressive. So,
Yeah.
Commissioner, you'll follow up directly. Okay, thank you.
In the back.
Good afternoon.
Hello.
I'm one of the parents concerning for this school, PS 59. We have a lot of students, but we don't get the budget to get them ready to get to for a starter ahead. And I'm wondering, are they going to get that budget for them to go forward and not backwards? We want to know if they're going to have a gym, activities for the students to learn, because we're not getting these.
Okay, let me get, who's going to take this? Superintendent? I want, because I'm want to make sure I understand, or Melanie, come over. What is the thing I need to hear? Give me the thing you're looking for. What do you need that you don't have?
We do not have a gym. We do not have a science room. We do not have an activity for the children's.
PS 59 does not have a gym. Okay.
Yes.
Let's check if it's on. So first, SCA, Melanie LaRocca, what's the situation with this school?
So the mayor actually has a new initiative for physical education and increasing phys ed spaces in schools. So the Department of Education's come up with an initial list. We are reviewing sites. So I will go back to see if 59 is on the list. And in addition, I will come out and visit your school to see what the conditions are.
Okay, so you're going to see her at the end of the meeting?
Okay.
She's going to come, but we have been committed to putting gym space into schools that don't have them. So let's see if yours qualifies, which it sounds like it does.
Okay, the school has a activity room, multi-purpose room, and it's used for more than one thing, a cafeteria as well as a gym.
Right, but we have to see if they need an upgrade on
Can I just say one thing? Any principals that are here right now? I just want to make an announcement that October is National Recognition Principal Month, so please thank your principals for everything that they do on a daily basis.
Gentleman in the back.
Good evening. My name is Dwight Thomas. I work for Marshallou Montefiore Community Center. We have a bunch of programs throughout the Bronx and some in Harlem. I'm particularly here to ask about the 7 community centers that we have in the Bronx in NYCHA housing developments. So the programs have been really, really, really awesome, right? It has done wonders for the community and especially for our young people and families. Now the question is, right, how can we partner with you all, right, to find funds to really make the community centers as amazing as the work that they do inside of them, right? So I think that the program's awesome, but how do we make the way that the community centers look match how awesome the program is?
Well, first, thank you for your question and for your work that you do with our young people and our seniors. You are absolutely right. Our community centers are incredibly important. At one point, NYCHA ran 405 community centers. We now run 12. And so with your partnership, we are serving our community. They have a ton of capital needs, repair needs. Here in the Bronx alone, almost $3 billion with a B. You heard tonight the mayor has put some money in for one senior center at Parkside. We are incredibly grateful. We know that there's a lot more that needs to be done. We continue to work with the mayor, our colleagues at DYCT, to try and think of a more holistic strategy to not only bring in public money, but also some private funds to help deal with some of the long-term capital issues that can't be solved overnight. But we are very grateful for your service and we'll continue to work with it.
Ma'am in the back.
Good evening. Thank you, Councilman Richie Torres, for everything that you're doing with NYCHA and for supporting the work that Catholic Charities does. Mayor de Blasio, we would like to thank you as well. I work for Catholic Charities Home Base. We're very grateful for all your investment in making sure that families are able to stay in the communities and providing support when they transition out of the shelter. We are working really, really hard. Our directors, our coordinators, our specialists are all doing intakes that the case managers would be doing. We are booked usually 2 to 3 months in advance. The need is greater.
What's the question?
We need more staff, and we would love to have a meet and greet with landlords so that we can get people housed more quickly.
I appreciate that, and this is a good example. First of all, thanks for the great work you do at Home Base. Second, this is an example of what I see at every town hall meeting of someone offering a concern but also offering a solution, so I thank you for that. Commissioner, what can we do?
Good news. As a result of money that the mayor put in the budget, we're expanding the home-based contracts, and it's going to give you greater ability to reach landlords. Catholic Charities is doing a great job, but that's why we put money in to help increase and expand the reach of what you do.
But what about the idea of an open house at the office for landlords?
It's an excellent idea, and the funding that we're giving you, we think will allow you to do more of that. Your directors and some of the other programs have suggested that, and it was one of the things that we wanted to put more money in the budget.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
I think we're about to get to our youngest questioner.
All right. Hello there. What's your name?
My name is Miracle.
Miracle? Your name's Miracle?
Yes.
What a beautiful name.
Thank you.
What's your question, Miracle?
My question is, you saying that you're gonna close Rikers in 10 years, right?
That I'm going to what?
Close Rikers in 10 years.
Yes, that is right.
You're not gonna be the mayor in 10 years unless they re-elect you.
You are very smart. You are smart. Very smart. What grade are you in?
Second.
What grade?
Second.
You're in second grade? Miracle, you are a miracle. Let's give her a round of applause. So, all right, I'm going to answer your question. Miracle, I'm going to answer your question. So, it doesn't always matter whether you're going to be mayor at the time you set something in motion, because once it starts, it continues. So, in fact, just this week, we had council members in Queens who said they would welcome a new jail facility being built on a site in Queens. That is one of the things we need to be able to get off Rikers. So that work is going to start right away. But the things we need to do, it will take us 10 years, but we're going to do a lot of those things in the next few years. And I think there's a strong feeling all over the city that we have to get off Rikers at the first available moment. We're putting a plan in place and the money to fund it so we can get off Rikers once and for all. And thank you for your question.
Yes, yes.
Evening, Richie, Mayor. I'm going to address the question about Community Board 5.
Just keep the microphone closer.
Oh, I'm nervous.
Take it easy on me.
My question is, I'm a homeowner, lived in my neighborhood 50 years. I'm a proud Bronx. I'm a proud New Yorker. I love New York. And I love the homeless population. I know you have a hard task. Someone was talking about the developers. They're using divisive tactics to get our homes in nice neighborhoods. Community Board 5 has been saturated by a lot of housing. I really don't, but my neighborhood, I'm being a little selfish, and I know there's a lot of problems in the Bronx, in the city, in the world. But I'm being selfish right now about Raya Avenue. Lived there 50 years, tree-lined area. We take pride in our neighborhood. Mm-hmm. I myself am a homeowner. Mm-hmm. I rent to
Wait, so what's your question? Give me a
My question is, how are you protecting me,
right,
the homeowner? You're changing the whole landscape of my neighborhood. And I understand that we have to house the homeless. I do my share. My neighbors do our share. we get Section 8, link programs, but now you're putting in a 12-story building in a tree-lined, small, it doesn't fit. It just doesn't fit. And the divisive tactics that the developers are using, they're buying the homes, they're scaring the homeowners, right? Now the homeowners are selling because they think the shelters are being...
I got it. Okay, I'll start, but I think I need you to join in this answer too, because you know the details more. We don't, first of all, I appreciate, as a homeowner myself, what it means to be involved in the community long-term, believe in it, etc. Two, we don't condone any scare tactics, any division. The zoning law, as I understand, allowed the developer to do it. That wasn't something we came along and said, let's wave a magic wand. That was the law that was allowable. And I believe you can have services that serve the larger needs of the neighborhood and the city without disrupting the quality of life. But that's up to us to achieve. That's up to the NYPD to work closely with any facility to make sure the community is safe, and all the other things we try to do to support strong communities. But I need help with you to weigh in here too. We're trying to balance a lot of factors here. What specifically should we be doing to help? This is moving forward, but what can we do to make it better for the community?
So I feel like your concerns extend beyond NIMBYism, because it is true that even though it's an as-of-right development, it would be vastly larger than anything at site. So I'm actually sensitive to the concerns that the development might be out of context.
Okay. Thank you.
Ma'am?
I'm coming. Excuse me.
And thank you. I help organize housing forums, and there's going to be one on October the 17th. And there's a lot of people in the area who speak Spanish only. So we have great people coming out from Department of Homeland Services, HPD, NYCHA. We talk about the LINK programs, talking about the issues of doing the applications when you're eligible, only to get a letter of rejection saying you're not eligible. So there's a lot of troubleshooting going on. Now, unfortunately, so many people who are in the neighborhood who can benefit from this information do not understand English. So I would like to know, how can your office help me and the community that I'm assisting, which is Gethsemane Missionary Baptist Church, to be able to bring language translation equipment into that forum?
So I'll speak for the programs through HPD, in particular Housing Connect, which is our lottery system. So for that, a number of things. We have translated the materials in a number of different languages, but as importantly, we are working with housing ambassadors across the city. These are community-based, not-for-profit organizations that have real roots in the community and also language and translation capabilities. And so I would very much love to, and we'll talk directly afterwards, to see where you are seeing that there are still gaps, so we can continue to make sure that our language access is as effective as it needs to be.
And similarly for the Department of Social Services, I appreciate you calling our attention to what might be a gap. I can assure you that all our materials are in all the 7 local languages, and we have staff who can speak to the languages that clients need to hear. But if we've missed something, I want to follow up with you right afterwards and make sure we can send staff out to participate in the programs you described. And thank you for highlighting this issue.
Okay, the gentleman in purple shirt.
This is blueprint drawing.
Hello, good night, Mr. Mayor, Councilman Torres, and thank you guys for inviting me today, especially Team Israel. I'm a landlord, hardworking landlord. I'm an immigrant. Have a few properties. It didn't come easy, but I find the mayor is a very soft-spoken guy, kind-hearted, want to help poor people, give people home. But most of the time, I'm finding that, again, I'm 20 years in this business, that the team that sometimes you have in the courthouse, I go represent myself sometime. I call your agency, and sometimes people lose their job, need a little help with money, or they need the city to help them pay to keep the home. So most of the time, from my experience, is not a bad landlord. We are landlord who would like to get paid to keep our tenant. We don't want to put out tenant. That's not true. We love tenant because tenant is the one who help us to keep what many politicians call an American dream.
I got you. Stay right there because I can answer it. So let me emphasize, there are a lot of landlords who do everything right, play by the rules, abide by the laws, and care about their tenants. There's no question about it. And I have been particularly struck by smaller landlords have more of a personal relationship with their tenants. Some of the problems that I've had with unscrupulous landlords are with the ones that have a lot of buildings, and unfortunately some of them are not doing the right thing. But you're right. If you're trying to do the right thing by your tenant and they're not paying the bills, you're not guilty. We'd like to solve that problem. Hold on, and everyone suffers. So we can, in fact, help a tenant who has that short-term shortfall without penalizing you. Commissioner Banks is going to speak to that.
Thank you very much for what you do to help our clients. I can say that under the mayor, we have increased the amount of rent arrears that we pay by 25%. I would love to hear from you about places where you think we should have paid and we didn't pay. But overall, we're paying much more rent arrears because it's far more effective to pay landlords to keep clients in their apartments.
But let me give Steve, for everyone's benefit, if he has a situation where the only problem is his tenant can't pay the rent, he doesn't want to throw the tenant out, but he needs to pay his bills, what would a landlord like him do in a situation? Where do they turn?
So, as you know, HRA is right in the courthouse, and the clients can come in.
I want to see that. Hold on. Did you know that? No, I mean, do you know about this process he's talking about? No. Okay, so don't, as you know here, let's start from, tell everyone what you do.
Let me start again. So, HRA is located in every courthouse in the city, and when a landlord is in court with a tenant, if the tenant goes into our office, we will evaluate on the spot, and in many cases can make decisions to pay rent right there and expedite payments to landlords. And we'll follow up with you to see if anything we've done has fallen through the cracks to make sure that you don't have this problem.
This gentleman right here.
Thank you. Good evening. My name is Yahya Obeid. I would like to thank the mayor for giving the kids the day off of school for the Muslim holiday. Thank you for that. You are a good man, a fair man, and we appreciate your support. I would like to also thank the city councilman for his hard work and continued support. As a community board member and a New York City resident, I've submitted numerous concerns via the Contact the Commissioner online website. These concerns range from a couple of months old to a couple of years old. DOT is extremely slow. I am willing to take the day off of work to give a DOT official a tour of our third world sidewalks and streets in some areas.
Can I pause you 1 second? You said, what was the website you went through?
The DOT Contact the Commissioner. There's a Contact the Commissioner online.
Contact the Commissioner. What happened when you typically did that?
I get a response immediately. Within a couple of weeks, they're going to look into it. Then they look into it, and nothing happens. I'm talking about a speed bump that I requested 7 months ago. Someone was hit. I don't want to wait.
Do you get an answer? Or in other words, sometimes nothing happens because there's a legitimate reason why they can't do something. Do you mean that, or do you mean no response?
No, I do get a response, but it's the response that they did something, but nothing actually happens. We did have someone get hit in front of the Bronx Muslim Center 7 months ago. I requested a speed bump. They said 18 to 20 months. The next time it'll be a fatal accident. We have street lights that are missing. We have sidewalks. We have damaged streets.
Okay, let me stop you there.
Stand-in water.
My friend, we have to keep everyone.
I understand.
We can't bring up too many
this
topics.
This is just years worth of frustration.
I got you. I'm going to stop you. You gotten your point across. I'm sorry. I got to stop you there. DOT. These are real issues, and I agree with you. If a safety issue is raised to DOT, they have to deal with it in real time because there's consequences if they don't. Sometimes there may be a legitimate issue. For example, you can't put a speed bump on a bus route because the buses can't handle it. Those are legitimate. You should do some other kind of safety measure in that case. But we need answers. So you're going to get a personal visit. You're going to go. Do you have issues on your block in your area? You're going to go and personally see these for yourself and see how we fix them.
So my staff is here tonight with me. We'll speak to you, and we'll set up a site visit right away to take a look at the issues on your block.
I want to emphasize you're going to personally go.
I am going to go.
This block.
Yes.
There we go.
Yes.
All right. Thank you.
Ma'am.
Yes, hi, Councilman Torres and Mayor de Blasio. I'm from Twin Parks West, and we have a problem in our building. We have a sewage leakage every other week in the lobby of our building with sewage from toilet, nasty
in the
water.
lobby.
Yes, and it's every other week and sometimes twice a week, okay? And sometimes she leaves it there, the manager. Okay, because they say it costs too much for them to have it siphoned out and everything. And then when the water, they pour the water in the driveway part, you still smell the stink for a couple of days. Then the elevator is turned off. I'm disabled. There's other people disabled. We can't even get up and down our building.
Okay. You know about the management of this building?
I do know about this issue. So first of all, I apologize for the inconvenience. We have since ensured that on a weekly basis that there is regular cleaning of that sewage line, which I believe is original to the building, almost 55 years old. So there requires a regular maintenance.
45, I've been living there since it was
Since the
built.
beginning, okay. Thank you for that correction. So regular maintenance, if there, and as, in terms of the elevators, it's a two-car building, I believe. When one elevator is down, we always try to keep the other one up and have it back online. And if that isn't happening, we will we will make sure that it does. The last thing I will say is that we've added some new staff to that development as well to help with the ongoing maintenance of the issues there. So if this is an issue right now, we'll show up tomorrow and figure it out.
I would like us to show up tomorrow, but I want to add, if that sewage situation is recurrent and all we're doing is addressing it like a Band-Aid, then I want to know what's it going to take for us to fix the underlying question, and you can personally bring me the bill and I'll see that we get you the resources to fix it.
Great, thank you. It's $400,000.
Good evening. I want to thank you from the bottom of my heart on behalf of my community of the investment that Mayor de Blasio and Council Torres that you have given Parkside. My name is Alith Lozano. I'm the district chair of Bronx North and also the treasurer of the Citywide Council of Presidents.
Thank you.
And I'm pleased to see half of my leadership counterparts here.
Okay. Tell us your concern.
My concern is that I would like to know when we can set a date with the Citywide Council of Presidents to discuss the issues at hand. We are in the midst of wanting to negotiate a memorandum of agreement, and I am requesting before you, Mayor de Blasio, when can you commit to meet with all 9 district chairs regarding our concerns?
Sure. I'll be happy to meet with you before the end of the year. The next few weeks are a little busy, as you may know, but after that, I can make time, and I'd be happy to sit down with you. Thank you.
Yes.
Hi. Thank you. I'm totally not kidding. Thank you so much. I'm just going to give this to you.
Poor Richie.
So these are the 700 people that signed our petition to get the Cure Violence program into the 48th and 52nd precincts.
Excellent. Well, that worked.
And that worked like a charm. We will let them know.
The petition already worked. It wasn't even
Beforehand.
handed to me. It's already worked.
That is so incredibly important. Our youth had to leave because it got so late, but we have kids from wildlife that come to our center, and there have been several murders in there. That is a really, really big deal.
Thank you.
The Mary Mitchell Center is a community-controlled community center, and we're starting a community land trust. And so
Give us the concern quick.
I know,
Come on, we
this
got a lot
is
of
what I
people.
need. I need a deputy mayor that can help me because I have an issue with the DOE, with HPD, with parks,
With a land trust?
to
Okay.
create the land trust. and
I don't have a deputy mayor for you, but what we'll have is HPD can handle up. They're the lead on anything like a land. You don't
Okay.
even need to speak to it. You're just going to have
No,
a follow-up.
I'm going to go right over.
Good.
And
Thank
we
you.
hope you can come visit us in
I
2018.
look forward to it.
Thank
One
you,
day.
Heidi.
Thank you.
Ma'am, ma'am? Yeah.
Good evening. I work for a local nonprofit that helps low-income New Yorkers apply for public benefits. We are happy with the collaboration of HRA and community-based organizations. My question is, there was a cash assistant pilot program that was supposed to roll out like a month ago. We just want to know what happened.
Say that last sentence again.
A cash
Get
assistance
closer.
pilot program, you said?
Yeah, there was a cash assistant pilot program that was supposed to roll out last month. So my question is, when is the expected rollout date? Has it been halted? Why?
Okay, you got us a little confused here. Just say the last two sentences one more time.
There was supposed to be a cash assistant pilot program rolling out last month.
For who? For what kind
For
of folks?
community-based organizations to work with the local community.
Okay, he's got
and
it. Go
apply
ahead,
for
Steve.
public assistance.
So this is to enable community-based organizations to help their clients by working with our new methodology in which clients can see what their cases are, get notices through email. It's a new portal. Grace Bonilla is right behind you, and I know she's going to talk to you. It's a new program to help make benefits more widely available to people so they don't have to come into our offices and wait for hours. They can get help right on the internet the way all of us might do our banking. You can now do your HRA case that way. And we're creating a portal to help not-for-profit groups like yours to work with us so that you can help your clients. And we'll give you more information on it right away.
Sir.
Good evening, everyone. Special to Mr. Mayo and Richie Torres. I appreciate what Richie Torres done for the area, Bronx Park South, all this area. I've been living there for 52 years. They always breaking cars, and that time I went to Richie's office, and after that, no more car breaking. Richie, thank you very much. Right? So,
Thank you.
another thing, thank you, Mr. Mayor. You build the city. We appreciate it, what you're doing.
Thank you, brother. What's your question or concern?
My question is about the parking lot for the community. Right now, I'm going to my neighborhood. I have to pay $11 because I can find no parking this time. Would you please? We have a spot in Bronx. You may make a building, a parking lot, 2-3 story for a neighborhood. Please, can you do that? I know you can do it.
Again, you know, I come to these meetings and people raise all sorts of issues, and I try and give an answer when I have an answer, or let people know honestly what we're going to do. And sometimes the answer is not what people want to hear, but I have to be honest with you. We don't have a plan to add parking lots around the city. Our focus right now is on creating housing, because that's an urgent need all over the city, and addressing a lot of other issues. We do not put additional money into more parking lots. That's just the truth. So I wish I had an answer that would be more satisfying, but I don't want to tell you we're going to do something if we're not going to do it.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Can I ask another question, please?
No, sir. I'm sorry. It's one per person. My apology.
Ma'am?
She already asked a question.
Good evening again, Mayor de Blasio and Councilman Richie Torres. My question is, Mayor de Blasio, for the children of the Bronx, we don't have a Bronx Children's Museum. Again, I take my grand to other boroughs to see their museum. I learned recently that Kerry Washington, a Bronxite, started a funding for it. We want to know if can you assist her in helping us get a children's museum. It's also educational as well as recreational.
What did you say? You have one. Under
one I
construction.
saw
Okay,
was
good
a
news.
mobile museum.
Hold on, Steve. Who's got a microphone for the commissioners? Someone's got to help me.
So there was the groundbreaking for the Bronx Children's Museum was 2 months ago.
Yes.
And this is something it's at a parks facility, collaborating with Cultural Affairs, with DDC is building it. There will be a Bronx Children's Museum. And also, I would like to thank Justice Sotomayor for being such an advocate for that. So what's that? Mill Pond Park is the location.
Yes.
So,
Sir. Yep.
Hi, I'm from DDC, and I have personally made a promise to Justice Sotomayor that the museum will open the end of 2018. And we're very happy to close the loop, so now every single borough will have a children's museum.
Good evening. Mayor, this question is applicable for everybody in the room. Although I'm a Local 79 proud member, and I was also a member that cleaned up this entire school last night.
Thank you for that, brother.
You're welcome.
Thank you very much. You did a good job.
My pleasure. My pleasure. My question is pertaining to public safety and also comes with a solution-based. What are your thoughts about texting while driving and phone use while driving? And what do you think about launching the most aggressive campaign that not only gives a penalty and changes behavior because of monetary expenses to people, and it's also a windfall for some of the programs that need funding throughout the city that can be deigned to your level?
I agree with you. And great minds think alike, brother, because this is something I've talked to Commissioner O'Neill about. NYPD has been shifting emphasis more and more towards texting while driving. It's incredibly dangerous. I don't know if everyone else has had the same experience I have. It seems there are more and more accidents, more and more traffic jams, and it is correlating directly to people texting while driving. And it's also incredibly dangerous. So, yes, NYPD is going to put more resources in, but the two things you said I agree with, and you're inspiring me to action. One, to increase the penalties so it gets even more clear to people what the consequences are, and two, to make it even more of a focal point for NYPD enforcement. I think that's a great idea. I will pursue that.
Sure. Sir.
My name is Leo Curry. I'm pastor of the Fordham United Methodist Church here in the Bronx. And my question is, what are your plans for the old Fordham Library? The Kingsbridge Library opened in 2005. And the old Fordham Library is between Bainbridge Avenue and Marion Avenue, and it has been vacant.
We are particularly planning EDC. Who's got old Fordham Library? Who's got that one?
We are particularly concerned because our church is right next door to it, and we are also concerned about the quality of life and that the future use of the building would be for the entire community.
Okay.
One of the challenges that we face in the Bronx is the underrepresentation of Bronx residents in the civil service. So if you're looking to take an exam to enter into the civil service, you often have to travel to Manhattan or Brooklyn. So DCAS is going to locate a training facility in the old Fordham Library where you can take an exam for the civil service. I believe it's an over $20 million investment, and those are solidly middle-class jobs once you're in the civil service. So that's, yeah. Is DCAS here to explain what it...
I don't know if DCAS is here.
Okay.
So you just gave the answer. We can follow up, but that's the essential direction.
That's the answer. Okay.
We'll have our folks follow up with you. You'll make sure to follow up.
Sir. Yes.
Good evening. Good evening. Thank you, Mayor de Blasio, and thank you, Councilman Torres, for all you've done for the schools and for New York City's children. I want to just inquire about our culture responsive education program. It was supposed to roll out this fall so that we're getting anti-bias training for all New York City school staff. And, you know, the possibility with this terrible incident about getting more restorative justice training for school staff, for our children, to learn how to deal with conflict in a more constructive manner.
Well, I'll let the superintendent speak after I just say that we put a a very substantial investment. I think it's 30 or 40 million into restorative justice already, which we think has been very effective. We're going to continue that investment. And the training of our staff, anti-bias training, is a priority for us. Do you want to speak to the specific rollout?
Absolutely. Restorative justice programs already exist in some of our schools, but right now our chancellor has mandated that we create very soon to start during the Monday PDs, because the teachers have within their contract every Monday they have 80 minutes of PD, professional development, where these modules will be implemented in terms of training the staff on restorative justice programs and techniques. So this is something that's very, very close to our minds and our hearts, and it's something that we want to assure you that we're moving forward, everyone will be trained in these techniques. Thank you.
Ma'am.
Good evening, Mayor. Mayor.
Where are you? I hear a voice.
Over here.
There you are.
Okay, my name is Danelia Copps. I'm a parent of CS67. You know the tragedy that happened last week. I have a concern. Just a little bit about my day when I went to go pick my daughter up yesterday. They have separate entrances for the high school and the elementary.
Yes.
Now, the elementary exits on the 179th side. When I got to that gate, before 2:20, which is their dismissal time, that gate opened and 2 high school students exited out of that, like ran out of that gate. When I went to the school safety person and I asked him, why are high school students leaving out of this exit? Now, I'm letting you know this. He was on his cell phone, number one. I asked him to get off the cell phone. He said, oh no, continue with your question. I said, no, I want you to have my undivided attention because this has to deal with my child.
Right.
He got off the phone and I asked him, why are high school students leaving out of this exit? Now, he went on to blame the school aide and everybody else. I don't care who saw it or not. Anybody that punches their time card into that school is responsible for my child until I pick her up.
Amen.
I don't want to hear anything else.
Yep.
That was a very scary situation that happened. I was there within the first 10 minutes. And I was there until I was able to pick her up and leave. Now, also on 179th, right there on that 179th side, there's no stop sign. Lots of times, cars go flying through there when kids are leaving and going to school. I suggest that you put a stop sign right there on 179th and Mohegan Avenue.
Tell me your first name.
First name is Danelia, D-A-N-E-A-L-I-A. Last name is Copps with 2 P's.
I got you. Just Danelia. Danelia, I appreciate the point you're making, and I feel very kindred with you as a parent, but also as a leader. I don't accept anyone, first of all, not respecting one of the people they're supposed to be serving.
Thank you.
And second, blaming someone else when that's not the question right now. The question is making sure kids are safe.
Right, that was my main concern.
So I always say to people on my staff, address the problem. We can worry later on about who made a mistake, but you got to address the problem. You got to take ownership for the problem.
Right.
So the chief of all of school safety, Chief Conroy, is standing right here. So I will start and Chief will pick up. Chief, I think we have to make sure everyone on that campus understands how adamant we are about that separation that must be kept at all times in the exiting and the entrances between the different grade levels. And bathrooms, of course. So I want Chief to speak to it generally. I want him to see you after, please, to follow up directly, because we have to make sure that these issues are addressed. And when he follows up with you, I want you to give him the name or the description of the officer that you had that situation with. Go ahead, Chief.
So I certainly appreciate your concerns, and we work very closely with the school administration, Department of Education, to make sure there is separation and the elementary kids are very safe. We have our manager here with tonight that covers that area. He will sit down and talk with you and get the name, and I personally will make sure that your concerns are addressed. That I promise you, okay? All right.
So, and Danelia, so Navarro, who's the DOT Borough Commissioner, will come to the school tomorrow to look at that need for the stop sign. We'll assess it. If we see what we need to see to necessitate the stop sign, we'll move immediately to get it in place. Thank you very much. And he'll follow up with you directly, too.
Ma'am.
Good evening. My name is Laverne
A
Underdew.
little louder, please.
My name is Laverne Underdew, and I made sure I voted for you, okay?
All right. I like the way you think.
Yes. Now, I want to ask you about Zimmerman Playground.
Zimmerman Playground?
Zimmerman Playground here in the Bronx.
Zimmerman Playground,
on
okay.
Parker Avenue in Olinville. This summer, it has not been open. Pals was coming there every year. This year, there's no pals. They said they were renovating the place. I understood that. But it has been finished, and these children have no place to play. And the fact is that the bathroom has been facilitated and working, and we are not able to use this bathroom. Now, I've been in this neighborhood since 1951. I have never heard of a situation the way that we are going through it now. It does not make sense.
What do we know about this playground?
So Zimmerman Playground, we used to have a daycare program, a play school program there. This building right now is not safe to be able to occupy, to have any kind of programming there at this moment, but there is funding to be able to take care and renovate the playground. So we're going to be doing that as well. So I will be speaking with you on some particulars that we can talk about being able to have some specialized programming going on in the park, some of the things that you may like to see.
Okay, thank you. Ma'am?
Wait, one second. I want to just get one follow-up. Hold on. Come back. Come back. So I know you'll follow up with her, and that is good, but I want to ask on this immediate question. Is there a way do we have a plan to restore the physical reality of that building so they can go back to having the programming they used to have?
We haven't been able to, right now, to be able to discern what that can be done with that building, but there is quite a number of issues that we would need to address and quite costly.
So in addition, let me just make sure we're speaking the same line. So you're going to go to figure out with her what can be done in the short term, but it sounds like as we go into the budget process up ahead, I can't guarantee anything yet, but you guys should present a plan for what it would take. We'll see if it's something we can afford, but at least we should decide what it would take to restore the building and the programming.
We'll
so at least
that,
we can
Mr.
look
Mayor.
at that. Thank you.
Sir. I'm sorry. I'm confused. Thank you.
Good evening to both of y'all.
Can I just say before you start, just want to give everyone the announcement. It's 15 minutes left. It's going to be 10 o'clock soon. So we'll go for 15 more minutes. We'll get as many questions and answers in as we can in 15 minutes. And then remember, all of these great commissioners will be here if you want to follow up with any of them. Go ahead.
Good evening. I would like to address the pre-K and them having educational trips. They are no longer allowed to go on school bus because there's no car seats. What are you going to do about that so they can have educational trips?
Okay, I'm not familiar with the educational trips in school buses, so I need to understand this. Go ahead.
There is a regulation, yes, but the other thing is that it's not only about getting on a bus. They can do walking trips through the neighborhood and learn a lot about the community, but that's a regulation that we need to abide by the bus company. That we cannot have, for the pre-K students, no, we cannot have the actual.
Pre-K students can go on field trips, but not by a school bus.
Right,
Okay.
not on school bus.
So that's just a reality right now under.
No.
All right, she'll
Okay.
follow up
Well,
with you, but that's
we'll
just,
follow up with you on that.
that's the reality. We want to be straightforward with you. That is the reality right now.
Sir.
I'd like to say good evening to the mayor of New York City. I thank you for coming out, and I'd like to thank Councilman Richie Torres for doing a great job in the Bronx. I appreciate you very much. I thank you for having the forum tonight to let us voice our opinions and our feelings about what's going on in New York City. There's a very important issue that I realize that's going on, that there's a lot of motor scooters riding around the Bronx. I don't know if there's in other boroughs, but I've almost gotten hit by a couple of these guys riding around. Plus, I've almost hit
let me check in. You mean the motorized bicycles, or do you mean like the actual motorcycles, scooters?
The motorcycle scooters, they're very small bikes, motor scooters.
Okay.
And they are very dangerous. And what if anything is being done to regulate, because they ride on the sidewalks?
I got it. NYPD is very adamant on motorcycles and scooters and off-road vehicles and anything that's not supposed to be operating in that manner. They've been very aggressive. So, Chief, talk about what you've been doing.
Yeah. Good evening. We have a lot of strategies to deal with this. This is a priority. Obviously, some of them do it maybe 1, 2, 3, and obviously there's very large groups that do it. So we have different strategies to deal with different types of this. These are the ATVs, the dirt bikes, yes, riding on sidewalks and just riding all over the place. So we seize a lot of these motorcycles. We've seized 80 more this year. We've seized 448 ATVs and dirt bikes in the Bronx compared to 368 last year. We've arrested 159 people related to riding those bikes and issued 1,186 summonses related to riding those bikes. Now, this is also, we have to look at the safety of, some of them are young kids driving around. We don't want the officers to just start recklessly chasing them around the city, because that's going to result in the kid on the bike getting hurt or possibly killed and other innocent people. So that's why we have to use a lot of different strategies. We have to see where they congregate, and we have to kind of funnel them to locations where we could get them to slow down. So it's not just we chase them and we stop them. It's not that easy. But we spend a lot of resources, a lot of energy, and a lot of time to deal with this issue. So we know the places where it's prevalent. If there's a particular area you're concerned with, you can speak with me afterwards, and we'll make sure we put some more effort into that particular area. Sure.
Sure.
Hi, my name is Sheena Rudolph. I'm Community Board 5 Youth Chair. This question is to NYCHA. Why does it take 2 years and more to fix a repair?
Thank you for your question. I'm absolutely happy to talk to you offline if there's something specific in your apartment. With the mayor's support, we've made tremendous strides to improve that on basic levels of service, but I'd be happy to talk to you offline if there's something specific that we can help you with. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, sir.
Hi, my name is Gerson Montes, and I go to the High School for Energy and Technology in the Dodge campus. As a student in New York City, me and my peers have experienced an unwelcoming learning environment, and schools tend to resort to suspension, summonses, and even arresting kids or students to make the school safer. On the other hand, our own experience and research at my organization shows that we feel our schools are safest and supportive when we and our families have strong and healthy relationship with school staff.
Okay,
we also know that...
I can speak to it, but is there a core question you have, or else I'll speak to the general topic?
Excuse me?
Do you have a particular question or thing you want to say? Because I'll speak to the topic. I can certainly speak to what we're doing about reducing suspension and...
I mean, all the information here is important. That's
Okay, yeah, we're just trying to we're trying to discourage people from giving a long address. If the question is, what are we doing to reduce suspensions and to change school climate? We believe in reducing suspensions. We've been steadily reducing suspension. At the same time, crime in schools has been going down, incidents have been going down. So it really mirrors what we've been seeing with neighborhood policing in general. We are instructing school safety and our educators to work with the whole school community, starting with the students, to try and resolve issues, more peer counseling, more restorative justice, because we find that is more effective than turning to suspension the way it was in the past. So the fact is there's been a steady decrease in suspension because we find these other approaches are more effective.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor. Thank you for being in the Bronx. My name is Jessica Gordon. I'm representing the Fordham Road Business Improvement District. I'd like to start, thank you. I'd like to start by commending my 48th precinct, 52nd precinct, and 46th precinct. The NCOs, I'm living proof that the NCO process works. At the bid, they have continuously reached out to us to partner with us to solve the quality of life issues we have on Fordham, particularly homeless and some illegal vendors. But with the homeless, my question lends to, I'd like a little bit of insight on the evolution of the public relations policy in the NYPD.
Okay, I need you to get to a point here.
So what are we doing to better prepare and empower our officers to do their job without being in fear of being recorded, even when they're doing the right thing? So we hear them say, we want to enforce, but do you want the public to record me moving the homeless?
So it goes back to...
They need a little bit more support in their strategy.
Gotcha. Come on, I'm trying to get to as many people in the last few minutes, so I got your point. Let me speak to that, had this conversation in great detail with Commissioner O'Neill. No officer should feel that, because the instruction to officers when it comes to the homeless is to work with Department of Homeless Services and the outreach teams to provide services unless someone has broken a law. If they've broken a law, then you go and enforce that law. There's no moving people along. That's, if you know where things stand in law today, the message is very clear from the courts. You can't just move people. If someone's violating a law, you can take action as a police officer, 100%. If someone needs service, you can offer them service. If someone's causing it to be impossible for people to move on a sidewalk because they're clogging up the sidewalk, you can tell them they have to move, and if they don't, you can take action. So our officers are being trained, and there's a lot of officers being trained specifically to work with these homeless outreach teams in how to approach the situation. Therefore, they should have no fear at all of how they address the situation. And by the way, it is a matter of policy. Everyone knows it. In the next 2 years, every officer is going to be wearing a body camera anyway. So we're training officers just how to do the job right. You should have nothing to fear if you're doing the job right, and it's all going to be recorded for everyone's benefit.
Sir?
Okay, and everybody, we're down to the last few minutes, so quick question, quick answer. Let's try and get a few more people in.
How you doing, Mayor Blasio? My children are Red Cross survivors, and we're stuck in the cluster site, and it's ridiculous, the deplorable conditions we're subject to, and I have a city voucher, and no one's honoring it.
Okay,
And
let
my
me
children
have...
are
No, this is...
Red Cross survivors.
I want to have the commissioner, will see you personally in just a moment when the meeting ends to see how we can help. Those vouchers, we need people to be able to use them, and we want you to be able to use them, and we sometimes have to step up and do more to make sure.
Paying my rent.
No, that's what I'm saying. We want to make sure you can use that voucher and get to a good apartment, so the commissioner will follow up with you.
Sir.
Over here. Okay, we got 5 minutes left. Let's see if we can get a few more in.
I'm kind of nervous. My name is Rodney Johnson, and I'm here to see if you could assist me. I live in Manhattan, and I've been all over trying to get help with my apartment. I'm breathing mold, infestation of bugs, and everything. I did things illegally by going to court, and the assessment is not being taken.
This is what kind of apartment?
Section 8 apartment.
Section 8 apartment. Okay, again, I'm going to have the commissioner and his team follow up with you directly and see how we can help.
Thank you very much.
We're not going to count that one, Richie, because he's not from your district. So we'll give you a refund on the time. Let's see if we can let's try and get at least 3 more in. Let's go.
Good evening, Mayor de Blasio and Richie. MCIs. I understand that, tenants must pay when landlords repair things, but how long does these things go on?
Right.
These are eternal things
Gotcha.
that actually
Gotcha. I know this issue.
affordable rent to the point where you can't even pay it anymore.
You shouldn't have to. The MCIs, this is state law, and it's a bad state law, and it's a state law I want to change, and I'm hoping there will be some political changes in Albany that will open the door to making that change, particularly in the state Senate.
How long?
Well, that would be next year, in my personal view, is when I hope it will happen. But the MCIs right now allow the landlords limitless ability to charge a tenant. It should be pegged only to how much the actual repair or enhancement costs. That's what I'm going to work for.
Hi, my name is Imaj. Thank you for listening to my question. I actually met you guys at Marsha's Place. You guys helped open an LGBTQ shelter in the Bronx, not too far from here. My question has to do in regards to nutrition. What are you guys investing in nutrition? I understand parks is nice, but you need people to walk in them. You need people to live. You need people to have energy to be in them. So my question is that am I getting enough assistance from the government, which $194 monthly, which sums down to $50 a week, which includes that me, like living in the shelter that you built, does not have a kitchen for me to prepare meals in, so that means $30 a day. So $50 a week, $30 a day doesn't sum up. So what are you doing to improve in nutrition? You're spending millions of dollars in these parks.
Thank you. Go ahead, Steve.
Unfortunately, your food stamps are set by the federal government. We think they're too low, and we're continuing to fight to even preserve what people are getting. But we'll follow up and make sure that at Marcia's Place, I'm glad you're there, that we can see what we can do to improve the nutrition issues that you're raising with us.
Go ahead, Richie. One or two more.
Ma'am.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, Councilman Torres. I have a question regarding my daughter's school, the daycare. They have the UPK 3 and UPK 4 in the schools, but the issue is that they've been having a hard time getting parking permits. And they said the DOE has been denying them from getting those permits, and I see this.
What kind of school is it?
Daycares.
But it's not a public school building.
It's not a public school building.
Yeah, I don't think we have parking permits for daycares.
No.
Yeah, we don't. That doesn't exist to the best of our. He's from Department of Transportation. I don't think there is such thing as parking permits for daycares. That's just the honest truth.
Even if we have the UPK.
Yeah, I don't think we've done.
No, we don't have parking permits, but if there's an issue at your school with parking, I can speak to you now, and we could set something up to take a look at it.
Follow up with you.
Sounds good. Thank you.
Thank you. Richie, one more.
Stand.
Hello.
We went section by section. We cannot get to everyone. I apologize.
Okay.
Thank you. Last question.
Hello. How are you? So my question is, to be as brief as possible, is that to my knowledge, there was capital funding put into a project for the Belmont Library in 2012.
For which one?
The Belmont Library.
Belmont Library?
Now it's 2017, and the project was for a leaky roof, and there's nothing being done. So, I mean, according to the DDC, and according to the library members, the DDC said nothing was being done.
Okay, so you want to know when it's going to be done, right?
What
And
can
I
we
know
do to
this was
speed it
one of
up?
the long delayed ones. Belmont Library, when will it be done?
Unfortunately, we had issues with the contractor.
On? Yeah, get
Yes,
close.
it's on.
There you go.
We are defaulting the contractor, and we're taking over the project. We hope to have it done by next year, the end of next year.
Okay.
I'm sorry, it was hard.
They're defaulting the contract. I mean, the contractor failed. They're taking away the project from the contractor.
take it over.
They're going to take it over and do it themselves by the end of next year.
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you.
We're defaulting
Okay.
him now.
Thank you very much. All right, everyone.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.